Friday, and there's football. I shall call it Football Friday.
Sponsored by Tansky Sawmill Toyota.
Your home for all things football. The Fan. Your morning just got more interesting. Distilled and barrel-picked for your listening pleasure. Bo Bishop, a local sports media legend. What William T. Sherman was to the Union Army, he is to Northern College football. A husband, a father, and middling youth sports coach. He's friends with Central Ohio sporting royalty.
I'm talking to Ohio State Athletic Director Ross Bjorken. Coach Day walking on with us right now. Good to see you, buddy. Good buddy Austin Ward. My good buddy Tim May, the Tim May Show. The great Doug Lavery's joining us.
Hi, everybody. Dom Taberry here.
Oh, Reese came in and he's handed me papers.
Yeah.
And then he said, "You see that button? That's the only button you need to worry about. Don't touch. There's 8,000 buttons in front of me." Oh, I didn't know what he was talking about.
The one that says on.
We blew the budget on this imaging, and only two guys answered our ad on Craigslist. Ryan Baker and Eric Reeser. Act accordingly. You're now listening to Bishop and Friends.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Diamond Seller, your true jeweler for over 75 years.
All right, let's do it live on a Football Friday edition of the program. Yeah, that's right. Championship games this weekend. AFC, NFC championship games. We'll talk a little bit about both of those games as we go along. Lots on the Buckeyes. The Northern takeover in college football. A new Wall Street Journal valuation has Ohio State's athletic department and its football team worth a lot of money. We will get to that. Tim May is going to join from Las Vegas. Do I have that right? He's going to join us from Las Vegas, Nevada.
His favorite vacation spot. When he was on with us last time from Vegas, it felt like Tyvis and I woke him up.
Yeah.
And his voice was scratchy from the night before. So I told him it can't happen again. And he said, "Yeah, no, duh." And I'm like, "Well, dude."
I mean, he's going to join 10:30. That's 8:30 there. It should be safe. It should be safe at 8:30.
What do you famous last words?
What do you think him and Snook got into last night?
Blackjack. Probably a lot of blackjack. The pink pony. I don't know. Bill Benner going to join us at 11:30 as well on the program. You know, I said this Tuesday in kind of reaction and reflecting on that national championship that Ohio State won on Monday night. And what I had said was, and my feeling was pretty strong, that you would never see anything quite like this again. I don't think you'd ever see a team built this way again and win a national championship. And what I meant by that is the combination of fourth and fifth year guys who have been here since day one, who chose to be Buckeyes out of high school and then played the full career as Buckeyes. And they were the bedrock of this. So that base, that foundation of a program, I think is on the way to extinction. And so to have that and then to be able to have a transcendent freshman class, mostly in the way of Jeremiah Smith, and then on top of that to have this timing of Nick Saban leaving Alabama and then his roster being able to be pillaged allowed for the Remington winner and the best safety in college football and potentially the future quarterback. So those combination of things really were a perfect storm for this Buckeye team to win a national championship. I think it's almost become cliche now. We'll say college football, it's the Wild West, it's lawless. So we've been saying that for 4 or 5 years. It's been that way. I honestly don't think a great many of you realize just how chaotic it is. Ohio State won the national championship on Monday night. They have spent this week fighting like hell to keep their roster together. Their roster is being reached out to, and it's legal. You can't have beef. Like this is the world we've chosen. Their roster is being attacked in an attempt to be pillaged by the best programs in the country. There are names that I've heard from multiple sources that are being courted by programs you know very well, including one you've seen twice this year, that are trying to lure Buckeyes to their school. That's happening. That's happening all this week. You can't even celebrate the glow of this thing. There's no time to rest. There's no time to enjoy, to drink it up. Probably started Tuesday afternoon, and it's been going on all week. Your roster is under attack by the rest of college football, trying to get guys that they can either pay more or give them bigger roles. And these are prominent names that are being reached out to. All the while, you have a staff that you'd sure love to bring back, but doesn't seem very, very realistic. All the while, probably within the next week, they got to go recruit. And they got to go do all of that. You are college football. This part sucks. This part really sucks. We have always, and this is why there's part of this is why college football's been so great for so long, but now it's why it's also coming home to roost a little bit. These problems that the adults in the rooms created is coming home to roost. You are, folks, you are rooting for laundry going forward. You are going to see the majority of teams being put together in a 1 year, 2 year at best situation. And you're going to see massive turnover at a lot of these programs. Now, Ohio State is at the top of the heap. Saw this article in the Wall Street Journal yesterday. Ohio State's enterprise value is just south of $2 billion. It's number one in the country. Texas 2, Michigan 3, Georgia 4, Notre Dame 5. That's the top 5. That's the valuation of the Ohio State program, just under $2 billion. But it's so backwards that the brunt of the NIL and all of that stuff falls at the feet of boosters. You can't really share the money you want to because you don't want to call them employees. We've been over this 1,000 times. But just the idea of what this week, we have a celebration on Sunday for this team that won a national title. The foundation of which is 4- and 5-year players. Cody Simon was on with Juice this morning. He's 5 years. You'll hear from him at 9:30. 5-year guy. That's done. That is done. It's a wild time right now. So when I tell you, like, drink this up, enjoy it as fans, do so. Because I'm telling you right now, the folks that are most responsible, the players, the coaches, the support staff, they got no days off. They've been fighting like hell all this week trying to keep this thing together and the foundation together for next year. This roster is people are trying to pillage the roster right now. It's full-time, 24/7, 365 free agency. They've got to get this. This is not sustainable. It's not sustainable. Coaches aren't, I don't care what you pay coaches. You can't have a situation where you have no days off ever in a year. No matter what the compensation is, there's only so much of that you can live with. There's only so much you can live that lifestyle. And it's a siege right now. It's so much worse than you realize, folks. It's so much worse than you realize. And there's no real solution on the horizon. The problems exist. It's worse than you think, and there's no solution on the horizon. So when I'm telling you that thing on Monday, that doesn't mean Ohio State's not going to win another national championship. They will. I think Ryan Day will win another one. But it won't be built that way. It won't have a foundation of 4- and 5-year guys. It's not the kids' fault. Don't blame them. It's not their fault. This is the system the adults in the room made. They sat by and let this happen. The kids are getting market value for what they're worth, just like any of you out there would if you were given the opportunity. I would. What's my market value? I'm worth whatever someone wants to pay. That's the same thing they're doing. It's the same thing any of you would do. So it's not their fault. This is the system. But it is. Whatever you think it is, folks, trust me when I tell you it's worse. Trust me when I tell you it's worse and harder behind the scenes. That's where we're at in the sport at the moment. It is brutal. If you want to listen and relive what I think is a one-of-one national championship, you can do so this Saturday. Buckeye replay, Ohio State, Notre Dame. That's at 3 o'clock right here on The Fan. And then Sunday, starting at 11:45, we will have that championship celebration from the shoe from our friends at Learfield. That's at 11:45 on Sunday. We had sports last night. We will take a look at that. Continue with this conversation as well. We're off and running on a Football Friday edition. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
A lot of hosts have been on our airways in the past 30 years. Some good, some bad, some really bad. Anyway, sorry for that. The Fan.
Need inspiration? Shop Kroger for thousands of appetizing ingredients that inspire countless mouth-watering meals with savings beyond low prices. Like digital coupons worth over $600 each week and up to $1 off per gallon at the pump. So you can get big flavors and big savings. Kroger, fresh for everyone. Fuel restrictions apply.
Save big on 2-liter bottles of Coca-Cola, Pepsi, or 7-Up. Select varieties are just $1.49 each with your card and digital coupon. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
Everyone deserves a fast and reliable connection. One that helps better their everyday through the things they value most. Friends and family, education and career. A connection that opens pathways to opportunity and builds roads to a better future. At Spectrum, we're committed to delivering just that every single day. Because with the right connection, anything is possible. That's Life Unlimited. That's Spectrum.
For a limited time at Speedway, get 2 big pizza slices and your favorite Coca-Cola 20-ounce for only $5 with Speedy Rewards. Choose from classic 3-cheese, pepperoni, or extreme meat pizza. Save big with a $5 meal deal with Speedy Rewards. Only at Speedway. Valid through 3/4/25. See app for full terms.
Get Eco.
ECO.
Aaron, look what I invented.
Jerry, you're wearing a cape.
Get Eco.
ECO.
What is it that you promise our customers, Aaron?
We come through for you when you need us to.
Get Eco.
ECO.
Do you know who does that, Aaron?
We do?
Superheroes do that, Aaron. Superheroes!
I'm guessing you make capes for everyone?
That's right. Every plumber, electrician, and HVAC technician. But I'm not done, Aaron. I'm not done.
Get Eco.
ECO.
Now I'm inventing jetpacks so we can fly to the rescue like proper superheroes. Now say your line again.
We come through for you when you need us to?
No, say it like this. We come through for you when you need us to.
Get Eco.
ECO.
Jerry.
Yeah, Aaron?
How about we put those capes in the closet until you get the jetpacks perfected?
We'll look right when we take flight.
Get Eco.
ECO.
Eco. Plumbers, electricians, and HVAC technicians. GetEco.com.
Hi, Bob Mashuter back with a huge message for 2025. Dick Mashuter Ford is offering the biggest deals in a decade to kick off the new year. How about new Broncos for up to $16,000 off? New F-150s up to $11,000 off? And up to $12,000 off of Super Duties. If you resolve to save money this new year, then don't wait and grab your new Ford to kick off an awesome 2025. Dick Mashuter Ford. Closed Sundays because it's the right thing to do, but 24/7 at mashuterford.net.
Let me introduce y'all to my canes. We got chicken fingers. They hit the spot, baby. Fries are golden crispy, Texas toast crunchy, and they cane sauce creamy rich. One love.
What's the best way to make sure you don't miss any of your favorite fan shows? Oh, no. Download the Fan app, silly.
Ah, damn it, I knew that.
App Store, Google Play, or just scream right at your phone. Psst, you can also listen to Buckeye games. Do it now.
Hi, the Scott Antique Markets are back again at the Ohio Expo Center, featuring hundreds of vendors with collectibles and merchandise from all over the world. The market is one weekend monthly, November through March. Build your family heirlooms. You can find everything that gets old. Just take I-71 to exit 111 to enjoy America's favorite treasure hunt. Visit thescottantiquemarket.com for more information. Come join us at the Ohio Expo Center for the Scott Antique Markets. It's huge. It's the Scott Antique Markets this weekend.
Hurry up, dude. The game's about to start.
Nothing beats spending the day watching the game with your buddies.
Dude, I'm literally right here. Let's do this.
Which is why a shelter insurance renter's policy is key to your winning game plan. It protects things your landlord's policy doesn't.
Dude, where's your TV?
What? No way, dude.
Like that flat screen TV that just got stolen. To draft an agent for your team, visit shelterinsurance.com. We're your shield. We're your shelter.
Fan Trending weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
Today, partly cloudy, high 22. Saturday, mostly cloudy with a high of 35. Sunday, for that championship celebration, we're going to be starting off the day in the 20s. By lunchtime here, when the celebration gets underway, the temperature will be about 30 degrees. I'm meteorologist Dylan Robichaud with your 10 weather impact forecasts on 97.1 The Fan.
Bobby Carpenter doesn't have a mullet, but he's knee-deep in mullet energy. Morning Juice with Bobby and Beamer.
Weekdays starting at 6.
The Fan. After putting up with Dom Tiberi for a decade, the broadcast gods gave Bo these two. This is Bishop and Friends.
National championship in the books on Monday night. A chance to celebrate, Buckeye Nation. Join us, 10 TV, this weekend. Big Buckeye celebration. Here's your lineup. Saturday at 3 o'clock, you relive the victory at the replay of the national championship game on The Fan. Then Sunday, 11:45, join Big Daddy, Jim Lachey, and Skip for live from the shoe for the championship celebration. 10 TV championship coverage kicks off at noon. Listen on The Fan and watch on 10 TV. Go Bucks. We got up against a little bit with that opening comments, fellas, but it's just so much worse than I think fans realize. It is so cliche to say Wild West lawless. It's worse than that. It is. It's an up at dawn siege. There's a wild array of self-value that is misidentified by the hangers-on around. What are you worth? You're worth what someone's willing to pay. But here's the problem even with that. This isn't even like an NFL, NBA, professional sports situation. You can say, well, I know what you're offered. It's all public. There's a salary cap. I know that this is all word of mouth. Imagine negotiating one of these NIL deals with one of these kids, and they tell you, well, Texas is going to pay me that. Well, how do I know? Oregon's going to pay me this. Well, how do I know that? Right? And it's all funded by boosters. It's all funded by NIL. So there's no way of knowing. Imagine being Ohio State and you're like, all right, X player is going to, Texas A&M offered him 2.5. We need 2.75 to retain him. Is he worth it? Yeah, he's worth it. He's a prospective starter. We need him. Definitely need him. We recruited him here. We developed him. We need him. And well, he says he's getting 2.5 from Texas A&M. Well, do we know that? No, we don't know that, but that's what he tells us. And what are you supposed to do? Are you call him out? So then you got to go to then the boosters are like, well, hold on. I just gave you 2 for a safety. Now you need 2.75 for a linebacker? What are we doing? So the moral of this story is really enjoy Sunday. Enjoy Saturday reliving that game. Enjoy Jack Sawyer and Emeka Ibuka and Travion Henderson and Cody Simon, who you'll hear from in a second. Those 4-year guys, blood, sweat, tears, recruited, developed, turned into stars, national champions forever. It's fleeting. It's a fleeting sport right now. It's wild, fellas.
I always think about since he made those comments, it was Miami of Ohio's Chuck Martin when he was hacked off at Alabama for stealing their kicker. And I thought, well, if Alabama's going to nefarious lengths to get a kicker from Miami of Ohio, what do you think other schools, Alabama included, are doing to get skill and position players? Like that to me is there's nothing is off limits, nothing is sacred. It's as free for all as you can get. And your comments to how do we know what they're actually offering you versus what we've got offer you on the table? Things are valued differently. Like I've now seen in the past 6 months, several valuations for different programs. But here's the Wall Street Journal with a $1.97 billion valuation of Ohio State's athletic department. Well, that's an approximation based off a series of things. So, yeah, to your point that it's much worse than you could ever conceive. I mean, that stretches the bounds of your imagination with this.
Whatever you think is happening, whatever you're out there listening, folks, whatever your wildest imagination of what this is like, it's worse.
Especially with Jeremiah Smith.
I think he's good.
Well, I don't doubt he's going to leave. Like, he's here at Ohio State until he goes to the NFL. But the offers that are being floated probably to his proxies.
At least he's worth it.
Oh yeah.
Well, and that's.
But what's he worth? What's the Jeremiah Smith worth?
I don't want to put a name on a kid, but like, what about some kid who's like the 5th receiver in that room, and he's going, "I want what Mech got." Well, hold on, you're not Mech. What, are you kidding me? That's not who you are. But here's the thing: you're not Andrew Berry. They're not Duke Tobin. They don't have a salary cap. They don't have slots. Like, when you draft an NFL player, there's a slot for the position the player is drafted. There's a cap on it. This is what you can pay this position, this pick. That's what you can do. That's it. It's not nebulous, floating around, made up. It's brutal. It is brutal. Go ahead, Vic.
I was just going to say, and, you think back, you said you didn't want to put a name on it, but this was out here, a kid like Jaden Rashada, how much he was supposedly offered before he even played a snap of college football. I mean, Jeremiah Smith is worth 3 times that, at least, because you've seen what his production is on the field. Bo, I talked about this before, that you would start seeing with all of this until there were rules and guidelines put in place. You were going to see schools starting to have to recruit differently. And I believe you saw Ohio State do that a little bit differently with their last class, because you can't give all this money to every top player and get every top recruit. You're going to have to find some 3-stars that you think have some talent and you can coach up. And the one I think about the most is this Bodpin Miller kid from Ontario, Ohio, who played quarterback his whole life, but he's coming to Ohio State to play receiver because he has all the measurables, and they think this kid is athletically gifted enough to do it. And you know what? I think he is. The kid is ridiculously talented.
Okay, what happens if he sits for, let's say he's not ready right away because it's a big jump, and he sits for 2 years, and he's in the rotation. And I hate to even use a specific name because you don't know. None of us know exactly. I mean, there's certain things I know that are happening, but I don't want to put names out there on that. But let's use this as an example. I mean, that feels a little bit like Jaden Ballard, right? The Massillon kid. I mean, he was a pretty solid recruit in the state. So you put in the time, effort to develop and get them ready, and then they come in and say, and again, it's not the kid's fault. It's not the kid's fault. The adults in the room ruined this. They did. There were adults who did not want to take this problem on head on a decade ago. They sat by and they cashed their checks, stacked their Marriott points. And they didn't want to fix this. My God, when Urban was here, he talked about this. That's been a while. Saban 5-6 years ago, we did an NFL model. And everyone just keeps trudging forward. Meantime, the folks on these staffs are off 4 or 5 days a year. They can't even enjoy a national championship they won because it's an up-at-dawn siege to keep the guys that they recruited and developed happy on their roster, and they don't even have rules to play under. They don't. If you are the general manager of the Cleveland Browns or the Cincinnati Bengals, you have rules. There's a set of rules that you're playing under. I've got cap space. Not here.
No pie in college football? That's a shame.
There's pie, but it's pie that has no border.
I guess no set pie. Everyone's got different pie.
Pie's whatever you want it to be on that given day, brother. That's what it is. It's what it means to you.
Ohio State's at least got a good bakery.
They do. And they're in a better spot than most, and they're at the mountaintop, and they gave you the blueprint on the best possible way to do this. I just don't think it's going to be done this way again. Because I don't think that group, the foundation, I don't think they're going to get to their 4th and 5th year anymore. They're not. Not that many of them.
We're going to see it next year, kind of, with Penn State, it looks like, with all the guys they came back. But, yeah, this example of like a whole senior class, and we know it wasn't the whole senior class, but almost all of them saying, hey, we're coming back for our senior year because we have stuff left on. We have meat on the bone that we still want to pick at. Not going to happen very often, if at all.
No, it's you mentioned Penn State. Obviously, there's all sorts of rumor out there about Jim Knowles going to Penn State now. Who knows? Football scoop with the report last night. Wouldn't surprise me. You have to remember that whatever the here's your pie, Reese. This is your pie analogy. There's only so much money that a booster organization has. That starts to get finite. At some point, it becomes finite, and you have to say, well, where are we going to spend our money? What's more important? That's the challenge. Buddy of mine, been covering Florida State football for 25 years, took a lot of heat yesterday. We've had him on before, Jeff Cameron, good dude. And he said yesterday on his show down there, he said, this was his warning to fans. Be prepared for wide swings in record. Because that's the new norm. Now, Florida State is not Ohio State. It's not in the vicinity of Ohio State in terms of any of it. But that's a big-time program. And he told his audience, be prepared for 11-1, followed by 2-10. Think about that. That's where we're at.
I don't want to.
That's where we're at, brother. That's where this sport is at the moment. Completely rudderless. It's damn fun for all of us. But when you're in it, it's an up at dawn siege, baby. And it does not stop. And you can't even celebrate the glow of a national championship for a flipping week. That's brutal. That is absolutely brutal. But that's the life. Cody Simon is on Juice. One of those guys we're talking about here. The journey that he allowed himself to go on. Won't see many of them in the future, is my guess. You'll hear from him in 2 minutes. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
Want to have more fun watching the NBA? Try playing daily fantasy basketball on Sleeper Picks. Just pick more or less on at least 2 player stats, and you can win up to 1,000 times your money. And now, Sleeper has a special offer. New users just have to play $5 to get $55 in free entries. Just download the Sleeper app today and use code COURT and get $55 in free entries when you play $5. That's code COURT. Must be at least 18 years old. Promo code, location, and other restrictions apply. Minimum deposit $25. See terms of use for details. Please play responsibly. Call 1-800-426-2537 for help.
Progressive presents Employee of the Month. Small Business Edition. Today's recipient from Lucky Larry's Landscaping, Larry. Larry saved his business money with a quick commercial auto quote from Progressive. Does it help he's his own marketing manager, accountant, executive assistant, and never been late? Technically, yes, but saving really put him over the edge. So, Larry, give Larry a round of applause. Be your own Larry. See if you could save in as little as 7 minutes at ProgressiveCommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
Looking for a truck that can take on anything winter throws your way? Bobby Carpenter here for Germain Toyota. We got deals and the trucks to get you through the season in style and comfort. Lease the 2024 Tacoma for $249 per month with $299 due at signing, or tackle the winter with a 2025 Toyota Tundra built for the toughest conditions. I love mine. It's fantastic, and rates are as low as $299 APR for up to 72 months. Germain Toyota on the corner of I-70 and Bryce Road, or online at germaintoyota.net.
Incarceration, America's rock, metal, and tattoo festival with Slipknot. Falling in Reverse, Five Finger Death Punch, plus Marilyn Manson, 3 Days Grace, Beartooth, Knocked Loose, Lamb of God, Parkway Drive, I Prevail, In This Moment, and so many more. Report to the Ohio State Reformatory on July 18th through 20th, 2025 to face your sentencing. 3 days of rock, tattoos, and the return of the Haunted Blood Prison. Passes for incarceration are on sale now at incarceration.com.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Diamond Seller, your true jeweler for over 75 years. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
What's up? What's up, man? What's up with you?
This was special this morning, and here's what's up. Cody Simon stopped by the Juice Bringers. Blocko, captain, is just an all-timer now when you think about what he did. MVP of the national championship game as well. He was on with the fellas, reflected on a lot of what happened over the course of the last month, which is nothing short of, obviously it's a sprint. It's all of those things, but it's also pure magic. Here was Cody on the 5-week playoff run.
I mean, it was definitely unique. I mean,
I haven't really been used to that kind of schedule. But, you know, I think we this last month and a half has just been a whole bunch of growing closer to your team and a bunch of just grinding and just getting better. And I think that's really what ultimately helped us was we got better throughout these last weeks, and that allowed us to hoist a trophy.
He's got some really cool thoughts on the national championship game. Let's start with the one he talks about what was going on during Notre Dame's first drive, which, by the way, if you were watching it like so many of you were, and certainly we were, the way it was broadcast as if it was the greatest drive in the history of college football. Like it was all of those things. Here's Cody on that first Notre Dame drive, and the Buckeyes obviously rebounded quite well from that.
Yeah, no, I mean, I was probably the most tired I've ever been in my career. But, you know, they were tired too. And I think that was the biggest thing. I think they maybe ran him a little bit too much, and he was feeling that pain or that exhaustion too. But
they said he threw up after that drive on the sideline.
Yeah, that's what I heard too. But when we came off to the sideline, it was more just like, all right, like settle in, like we're good. Like it's not a. And actually, I talked to Coach Mick about this a couple times actually. The 2014 national championship team, and they played Oregon.
Oregon drove down and scored.
That first drive, he said their defense came to the sideline and were like, they couldn't even stand up. They were so exhausted. Oregon ran a play every 16 seconds. It worked out the same exact way where it was just, we're good, settle in, here's a few changes, let's go, and let's get ready to go back out there. And, you know, I mean, I love our offense so much because you go up, punt ready, and you got to go up to get ready to know your plan, and you just walk over and then you just walk back. You know, they're throwing it to JJ or Trey or Trinshawn is making a huge play. So it's a great feeling to have Chip Kelly in the offense on our side.
In the moment, it felt like, my God, can they get off the field? And then it probably got into the second quarter. And I remember they took a cutaway of Riley Leonard. Now, they didn't show him throwing up, but they showed him on the sidelines, and he looked like a ghost. His face, all of the color was out of his face. And I remember saying to the boys as we were watching it, like, they may have overdid it on him on that one. And I think it probably took halftime for him to have some life back in him. And I think what Cody said there is on point. I think he took way too many hits. They ran him. They were so focused on that initial drive. And I get it from Free's standpoint. I get it. Like, obviously you wanted to defer. He talked so much about winning the middle eight. Notre Dame had won the middle eight for much of their run to the national championship game. Didn't win the toss. Okay, well, we damn well better score in this first drive. And that's the way they coached it. That's the way they played it. But there was a price for that, and the price was paid by Riley Leonard.
I showed him on the second drive, just wobbling either into the huddle or wobbling off the sideline. And, yeah, it's such a weird place, I'm sure, for Notre Dame and their offensive staff, because you have to get those 7 points to stay in the game because of what happened next with Ohio State on 3 straight possessions. And you knew that was going to be the case for the Buckeyes, that they were going to score, and it was really just limiting how much they could be on the field. And you have to throw pretty much everything, including the kitchen sink, at them. And they did on that first drive, and that 10 minutes, you said it right. Like, it was the greatest thing that was the greatest thing on a football field. But it was like games like Akron earlier in the season or Marshall earlier in the season where you're going to get your guy killed. And you're right, where he responded, Riley Leonard did in the second half, but it took such a long time for him to get his feet back under him because of the beating that you don't get those 7 points without those, 10 carries in the first drive, but it's like, at what cost?
We talked about Notre Dame really had one way to win that game, and it was to ugly it up and go on long, sustained drives, and that's what they did at the beginning there. So, you can't blame them for doing it. But, man, Riley Leonard, if the rumors are true that he left the stadium that night in a wheelchair, there's no surprise to me. That. There's no surprise to me because that dude got worn out.
Well, Ken Dorsey spent the night in the hospital after the 2003 title tilt. Like, you leave it all out there, literally.
Marcus Mariota forgot how to play quarterback. Took so many hits.
Bad time to do that.
Forgot how to do it. Never really figured it out again. Cody also had some candid thoughts on the journey to become a champion. Here is Cody on that.
Yeah, it definitely wasn't the ideal track, but I love Columbus and I love the area, and I mean, it was never a question for me to leave here. But I enjoyed the people I grinded with every day. Like I loved that camaraderie we had, and Tommy's one of my best friends, and I learned so much from him. And a large part of the season this year was just going off what I've watched him do and operating how he did, and taking that process of watching film and getting ready for games, and I just wanted to be more of a sponge throughout this entire 5 years, really.
He got a master. Between Tommy Eichenberg and threes in the room. And then he took it to a whole nother level this year. It was really fun to see. He also reflected on his favorite moments of the playoff run. Here's Cody on that.
Favorite play that maybe I made was one of the Oregon plays. I think really not even I think it was my first tackle against Oregon.
When Nico used your helmet to crack his own?
No.
Twice,
I still think I could have made a better play for that one, too. But I think the Oregon, the first defensive play, I had a TFL, and I think I wanted to be able to set a tone for that game. And I think getting a 3-and-out in that drive really put us in the right path to be successful, because we were already up 7-0. And, I think that kind of launch padded us to – a really good victory for our program. And then favorite play to watch was 100% Jack's touchdown. I didn't want to give away scheme, but my job was just to get the guard and give him the one-on-one. And I saw him turn the corner, and it's all just a blur after that moment. I feel like every Buckeye fan kind of has the same kind of moment where it's like, what just happened? And he's running down the sideline. I'm just like, I don't know what's going on, but I just want to chase him. And
there's a really good lesson for kids in there. If you got kids out there, play that audio clip of what Cody just said, because his favorite play was the play Jack made. But what he said is, my job was to occupy the guard. So his job on that was to make sure that the guard couldn't double team Jack so Jack could have a one-on-one. Is that a glamorous job? No, it's not. It means he's likely not going to make a play. On 4th in the season against Texas, he gave up his personal whatever could have come of him making the play because the scheme demanded it, and he got a defensive end to go one-on-one, which resulted in one of the great plays in the history of the program. Like, play that for your kids to understand the selflessness that is required to win a national championship, because that's it. That's it. It's a fifth-year guy with a block O on his chest, a captain. Go blow up the guard so Jack can go one-on-one. Yes, sir. Got it. On it. Sack, strip, fumble. The rest is history. Obviously, this season's got a storybook. It's like all of them. They're all You win a national title around here, it's a documentary. Here is Cody on the ups and downs and the eventual elation of winning it all this season with the Buckeyes.
I wouldn't have thought this is how the season would have gone. We have the other goals, too, that we wanted to accomplish. We wanted to win everything. But I wouldn't have had any other way now that it's here, because I think we wouldn't have won if we didn't go through those moments of trouble, and those, like, I don't think we go on this huge run. I think we played inspired football, and that's what we wanted to play this entire time. That's what the seniors wanted to come back, because we're playing for each other. We're not playing to be the number one pick in the draft. Like, it's all a result of us playing together and us having fun and us really taking this last ride together, because we all benefited from just being brothers and playing together. And I think that was the main goal of coming back, is all of us can play together for one last season. And I really felt that passion and that love for each other through this playoff, because it was just, let's get one more week together. Like, let's just play one more week together. Like, we'll never be able to be a part of this team after these 4 weeks. So, I felt like the brotherhood really stayed strong through there.
That's the part I've been talking about for much of the first hour right there, fellas. Like, that togetherness that they had, it's going to be so difficult going forward to create that and maintain it. We're just not going to have the familiarity.
But it's helpful, as we talked yesterday, having those, the early enrollees for the class of 25 there to see and witness and be a part of all of that. So you set the standard with what you've done, with what this class with Cody and Emeka and Jack, what they are the standard, and hopefully that that can I guess help the younger guys dog.
Yeah, you hope so. You hope you see the blueprint and say, if I do this, this is what happens. But there's a lot of uncles out there. There's a lot of hangers on that are going to be poaching that want theirs. So it's a jungle, man. Absolutely is. Will Howard improved the perception around him as a quarterback as much as anybody in the sport this season. You think about the way that he was viewed a year ago to the way that he is viewed now. He is a national champion. He is immortalized here forever, and now he will turn his attention to the NFL draft. He was on with Pat McAfee yesterday. We'll have some of that for you and get into Will's legacy and one-year impact on the program coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
We have so many local shows, I can't fit them in a 10-second promo. So let's just say we're live and local all damn day. The Fan.
Welcome to Nada Yada Island.
Next on Metro's Nada Yada Island podcast.
I almost fainted when the 4 new bombshells arrived. 4 free Samsung Galaxy A16 5G phones at Metro.
No way.
And finding out the 4th line is free. Oh, things got heated.
That's wild. Join Metro and get 4 free Samsung 5G phones. Only at Metro.
Plus tax. Bring 4 numbers and an ID and sign up for any Metro Flex plan. Not available currently at T-Mobile or been with Metro in the past 180 days.
Playoffs? We're talking about playoffs. You bet we are. Hey, Timmy Hall here reminding you it's time to get in on the action at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Scoring touchdowns is key to winning in the playoffs, and you can score big by betting on them at DraftKings, the #1 place to bet touchdowns. Ready to place your first bet? Try betting on something simple like a player to score 6. Go to the DraftKings Sportsbook app, make your pick. New DraftKings customers can bet $5 to get $200 in bonus bets instantly. So download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code TheFan971. That's code TheFan971 for new customers to get $200 in bonus bets instantly when you bet just $5. Only on DraftKings Sportsbook. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 plus, Ohio only. Eligibility restrictions apply. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after insurance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio.
At Planet Fitness, we're declaring it. This is the year of getting stronger. And future stronger you can get started now by saving $28 or more when you join today. You in? We have all the best-in-class equipment you could ever need to keep stepping it up. And you can work out your way on your time at any convenient location near you. Most open 24 hours. So let's do this. Join Planet Fitness today and save $28 or more. Just $1 down, $15 a month. Cancel anytime. Deal ends January 31st. See Home Club for details.
Getting the cold shoulder? Call Care Heating and Cooling and we'll fix your furnace fast. Call 1-800-COOLING.
At Meijer, we work hard to bring more of the good life to your life so you can bring home more perfectly plump and flavorful produce picked for precise freshness, beautifully marbled beyond brag-worthy certified Angus beef, and more must-have money-saving M-Perks rewards. Because saving more on local favorites is good, but bringing home more of what you love in every trip, that's the good life. We do more to make life a good deal better at Meijer.
A system for every home and every budget at Logan AC and Heat Services. Get a free train furnace with the purchase of an air conditioner and tax credits up to $2,600. Schedule your free estimate now. Logan Services.
All your favorite and least favorite fan shows are available wherever you get your podcasts. Just type in 971 The Fan to the search bar and hit that subscribe button. It's free.
We're the land of the free and the home of the sunburnt, freckled fat guy.
Join now.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, let's talk ED because millions of men experience it. Did you know that 1 in 4 people seeking treatment for ED are under 40? So you're not alone. And even better, HIMS can help. Find the ED treatment that fits your needs at up to 95% less than the brand names when you get started at hims.com/joy. It all starts with an online intake form. From there, a medical provider licensed in your state will determine if ED treatment is right for you. Through hims.com, you can access a full range of treatment options for ED, including daily or as-needed meds through a 100% online process. If prescribed, your medication is shipped to you for free. Millions of men experience ED, but HIMS can help. To start your free online visit and save up to 95%, go to hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit. hims.com/joy.
All your favorite fan shows are available when you want them.
Head to 971thefan.com and hit that subscribe button.
The Fan, Ohio sports destination. Pull up a stool and ask the bartender for something neat, because Uncle Bo is on the radio. This is Bishop and Friends.
The Will Howard conversation over the next couple of months is going to be fascinating. It'll obviously ramp up at the Combine. His play over the last month in the playoff is the stuff of legend. His decisiveness. I thought what Coach Day said on the Tuesday press conference caught my attention in terms of when his feet are right, he's as accurate as anybody that they've ever had. So what that tells me is what Will did was he went to quarterback finishing school. That's what he did. We've seen this before when Lincoln Riley was at Oklahoma, and you saw Jalen Hurts, you saw Kyler Murray bake, where they're somewhere else. It's okay, and then you go in. The best example is Jalen Hurts. I mean, he's the best example of this, to where when he left Alabama and they were going in the way of Tua Tagovailoa, the feeling was, well, is Jalen Hurts' future in the NFL at safety? I mean, that's what people talked about. Is his future somewhere else? Is it not at quarterback? Well, he goes to Oklahoma, gets under Lincoln Riley, ends up being a second-round pick. He's in a Super Bowl, playing to be in another one on Sunday, has a monster contract in the NFL. So he went to quarterback finishing school. I think the same thing happened for Will. So his pro prospects went through the roof based on his time here. He's not the only one. Cam Ward, too. Cam Ward went from not draftable to likely going number one overall in this draft in 1 year. So that happened, too. Some of that's the desperation in the position. I think that'll help Will in the draft. There are not enough quarterbacks for the teams that need him. So if he can be quarterback 3 or 4 in this draft, if it's between him and Quinn Ewers and Jalen Milroe, I think he's got a chance to be in that group. Dylan Gabriel will be in that mix too, but Will's going to have some measurables that Gabriel does not have. Around here, he will be a legend only forever for the way that he played, the way that he led. The first time I noticed it, guys, was the Penn State week. That was the first time that I was like, I mean, we saw it in camp and we saw like little things here or there, but the first time that I was like, oh, this dude is the guy, was Penn State week, when he talked about how they didn't recruit him, how they didn't offer him, all of those things, and how it was personal for him. He got a little Arya Stark in him. He'll keep a list, and he'll remember what folks have to say about him. The coming out party and the one where we're like, oh, all's going to be good for me, and I said this earlier in the week when we were talking about the games. To me, the Tennessee game is when I was like, okay, this is what they're capable of. This is what we thought that they would be. And Will Howard agreed that the Tennessee game was kind of the fuse being lit. Here's Will on that.
Yeah, we did it. It almost felt like in that first game, it felt like we were kind of playing really with nothing to lose. And we talked about, especially, going into that Tennessee game, we just need to get this first one, get some momentum. And, I mean, that was an unbelievable game. We played lights out really on both sides of the ball. And it gave us a lot of confidence going into that next Oregon game. And, the way that first Oregon game ended, it just didn't sit right with really any of us. And I knew that, if we played them on a neutral field, maybe some more Buckeye fans there. Like when we played there, dude, that was the loudest stadium I've ever played in. Like I played at Texas, Oklahoma, like no question, Oregon, 65,000. That was, I don't know if they were pumping crowd noise in.
No. It's Pacific Northwest, brother.
Man, it was loud, but no, it was just, we just picked up momentum and picked up confidence. And, we really felt like we were playing our best ball at the end of the year. And that's all that matters.
Will's audio, courtesy of the Pat McAfee Show, as you heard Pat talking about the Pacific Northwest brother there. That's a pretty big compliment to Oregon, that they can be the loudest place with, in some instances, nearly half the attendance. But the way that place is built, it just keeps it in. And so that's a big part of it. I mentioned the quarterback finishing school for him. Will with McAfee yesterday talking about how he became himself, his true self at Ohio State.
I think the way that my career started off, I wasn't really a great player, my first 2 years at Kansas State. I didn't really turn it on until my junior year. So I think a lot of people made assumptions about me and, just assumed that I wasn't a good player. But really, I just wasn't myself yet. I wasn't really settled in. And, I feel like this year here at Ohio State, like I've been completely myself, and you guys see it, like me. I think I yelled at Boston Connor after one of the touchdowns.
It was awesome.
Screaming at him, dude. I'm like, I just get fired up, man. I like being in the moment and having fun with my guys. And, we just have an unbelievable locker room here. And it's just, it's so easy to play for these guys and to want to do it for everyone in this building.
That relationship with Coach Day has been a big part of it. He's talked about it a lot. Ryan's talked about it a lot. Here was Will on that relationship from McAfee yesterday.
Coach Day he's my guy, man, and he took a chance on me. I owe basically my life to that guy, man. He's developed me so I've never been coached so hard. I mean, that guy got on me so much in spring ball. Like I was like, man, I feel like I don't even know how to play this position. I felt like I was like, what the hell, man? Like this is crazy. But no, I'm just, and AJ knows, but, being a player or a coach at Ohio State, man, you don't really understand it until you're in it. It's different, the expectations that come with it, the pressure, all the eyes that are on you. It's different, and if you don't experience it, if you don't go through it, you don't really get it. So we were able to go through that together this year. And I think we leaned on each other a little bit. I think, I was able to, lighten up some moods when I needed to and go into the O staff room and crack some jokes and vice versa, man. So like, I think we were able to, lean on each other a little bit this year, and the relationship that we have is amazing. And I'll cherish that dude, for the rest of my life, man.
Well, I think people will cherish the throw to Jeremiah Smith on 3rd and 11 for the rest of his life. The fellas asked him about that throw. Here's what he had to say.
Yeah, there was no question. I was throwing that thing before. As soon as I got up to the line of scrimmage, we called it pretty much a max protection go balls on either side. And I saw that JJ had free access, off, inside leverage, and I knew it was unfair. That dude's gonna go whoop him on the route, and he did a hell of a job with it. I almost think I maybe held him up with the ball a little bit. He probably walks in the end zone if I get a little further, but
I think he's right.
Oh, he's right.
Jeremiah was
a little
6
more
yards
on that.
clear.
Jeremiah's waltzing into the end zone.
Yeah, it was a little too much air under it, Will. We won't hold it against you because it all worked out. But I think it was a little bit of a moon ball, and Jeremiah had so much separation that it just dropped in the bucket. But yeah, I think he's probably got the right read on that one. That one's going to go down. That's an all-timer.
Yeah, there are a couple times that happened this season, but it doesn't matter because Jeremiah gets a couple yards. They're able to get into field goal position and ice that game. And nobody remembers anything else because you summited college football's mountaintop, and you will always have that play. It's interesting. Cody Simon also talked about it when he was on with Morning Juice.
I was getting ready for punt, too. And I'm sitting there like, Summit, like, I don't know what they're running right here, but do something. And they throw that ball, and I'm like, I felt like there was no breath in my air, in my lungs when the ball was in the air. And you see him running like kind of by himself. I'm like, oh Lord, like this is it right here. And that was the best feeling ever. But the other thing was that we needed to go make a field goal, and we're sitting there like heart pounding. But it was an awesome moment. That was one of the greatest moments really at 3rd and 11. So. No, I'm so happy for JJ and our teammates and everyone who's involved in that play because that's the championship-winning play right there.
How good that feel?
Sure was.
When I hear all that, it takes me back, and I know we've talked about this, Bo, but talking with Greg Fry before the season, and he said he talked to Will, and Will said he never really got coached at Kansas State, and Greg was taken aback, and he said, wait a second, what do you mean? And he was like, I never really got the quarterback coaching at Kansas State. He talks about he wasn't a very good player his first 2 years. And we've heard Ryan, and you mentioned it, when Will has his feet right, he's as good as anyone, as accurate as anyone we've seen. And these players, believe it or not, they want to be coached. They would rather have someone that's hard on them, that's trying to get the best out of them. And you mentioned it, that quarterback finishing school. He has come here with Chip and Ryan and been coached like he never has before, and we saw the results on this playoff run, especially.
Well, what you just said when you talk about that they want to be coached, they especially want to be coached when they've experienced something lesser than what there is here. When you're at a place like Kansas State, which is a nice program, it's a really nice program, but then you come to the mountaintop and you're like, oh, this is what it's like. This dude's coached, he's mentored the 3 first-round picks. I can learn something here. And that's the hunger. So it takes the right type of guy. And Will was the right type of guy in the right spot, and he'll be a legend around here forever. Next week, we'll get into kind of his pro prospects. Some stuff starting to come in. Daniel Jeremiah, Mel Kiper, some of the NFL guys trying to evaluate him. I do think he would be a good fit in what Cleveland does. Maybe not at pick number 2, but I do think he would be a good fit for that offense. And I think he and Stefanski and Tommy Rees, who I got a chance to talk to yesterday, I think they'd work very well together, and I think they'd see football very similarly. In terms of seeing football similarly, the Big Ten and the North, it's 2 seasons in a row without Southern participation in the national championship game. That has certainly caught the attention of the mighty Southeastern Conference. Will it matter? We'll get into it coming up next. Bishop and Friends, right here on The Fan.
The 2 most mature people working at the radio station. And that's just because they wear pants.
The pervert and the skivvies.
Rothman and Ice.
Weekdays at noon.
The Fan.
For 100 years, our passionate Atlas Butler has been helping people. From those who have relied on us for years to those who call us for the first time. For our team, their families, and our community, Atlas Butler is here to keep Central Ohio safe and comfortable with trusted, convenient service. Call today, get it fixed today. That's our pledge to you.
Atlas Butler is at your service. Call 1-800-FURNACE.
Championship weekend in the NFL is here, and you know we love throwing watch parties at the ESPN Bet Sportsbook at Hollywood Casino Columbus. Let's parlay incredible food, huge screens, prizes, and football together for the ultimate bet this weekend, and you know it'll be a winner. Join me, Scotty Vegas, and Dave Biddle from On the Money for a watch party at Hollywood Casino starting at 3 on Sunday. Must be 21 or older to enter. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Parlay it, baby.
Need inspiration? Shop Kroger for thousands of appetizing ingredients that inspire countless mouth-watering meals with savings beyond low prices. Like digital coupons worth over $600 each week and up to $1 off per gallon at the pump. So you can get big flavors and big savings. Kroger, fresh for everyone. Fuel restrictions apply.
Check out this fresh deal. USDA Choice boneless chuck roasts or stew meat in the value pack are $6.99 a pound with your card and digital coupon. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
Hi, Bob Mashuter back with a huge message for 2025. Dick Mashuter Ford is offering the biggest deals in a decade to kick off the new year. How about new Broncos for up to $16,000 off, new F-150s up to $11,000 off, and up to $12,000 off of Super Duties. If you resolve to save money this new year, then don't wait and grab your new Ford to kick off an awesome 2025. Dick Mashuter Ford. Closed Sundays because it's the right thing to do, but 24/7 at mashuterford.net.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at getethos.com. That's getethos.com.
If you love to travel, Capital One has a rewards credit card that's perfect for you. With Venture X, earn unlimited double miles on everything you buy and turn everyday purchases into extraordinary trips. Plus, receive premium travel benefits like access to over 1,300 airport lounges where you just check in and chill out. Open up a world of possibilities with Capital One. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. Lounge access is subject to change. See CapitalOne.com for details.
Broadcasting from the Lindsay Honda Studios.
Honda makes the cars. Lindsay makes the difference. Visit lindsayhonda.com.
WBNS-FM, HD1 Columbus. The Fan. Sports Center.
Good morning. I'm Eric Reeser. There are now 3 head coaching vacancies left in the NFL as the Jaguars have reportedly signed former Buccaneers offensive coordinator Liam Cohen to become their next head man. The Cowboys, Saints, and Raiders are the 3. The Super Bowl matchup will be decided this weekend as well. Eagles will host the Commanders Sunday at 3 in the NFC Championship. Later that night, the Bills are at the Chiefs in the AFC title tilt. We'll have both those games on the Fan. On the ice last night in Carolina, the Hurricanes beat the Blue Jackets 7-4. Carolina scored 5 goals in the second. CBJ have 53 points points on the season. That's good for the second wildcard spot in the East behind Tampa Bay. Lightning have 53 points as well. Jackets are back on home ice tomorrow night against the LA Kings at 7. And in college hoops, the 12th-ranked Ohio State women's squad beat 8th-ranked Maryland 74-66 last night at the Shot. Buckeyes are 7-1 in Big Ten play. They'll play at Nebraska Sunday at 3 o'clock. Breaking sports news when it happens on The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Have you already started your tailgate? Us too. It's Football Friday.
Sponsored by Tansky's Sawmill Toyota.
Your home of the Buckeyes, The Fan. Our top men are working on everything except this show.
We have top men working on it right now. Who? Top men.
You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
You know, a movie that I've been wanting to see. I've had it on my list of and I've seen it's been on cable, and I bounce around and I see it, and I'm always like halfway in. I'll watch for 10 minutes. I'm like, oh, I know I'm going to love this. I don't need to. I'm not going to watch it all right now. And I finally watched it. I think it was Wednesday night. I finally was able to watch The Martian from start. I picked it, hit at the right time. It popped on at the right time. That's great. Like, the wife watched it. The oldest NBC watched it with me. It was fantastic.
Is that the one where Matt Damon grows potatoes and poop on Mars?
Yeah. It's great. Really great. Thrilling stuff. And it reminded me, it reminded me of two things. Number one, I have spent so much more time watching television series versus movies since we had the boys, because it's hard to carve out 2 hours versus an hour or 2.5. Most of these movies are 2.5 hours. So it's so much easier to carve out an hour than it is that. And it also reminded me the magic of flipping, which I enjoyed again last night. It came into fruition because as I'm watching the Blue Jackets game, they get down 5-2, and I'm like, okay, that's it. They're cooked. And so I flipped over. By the way, when you know you've crossed over, Beamsy was locked into the whole thing. Are you watching this, Dad? Yeah, I'm watching it. I'm locked. I got you. At one point he goes, Dad, we sold the power play. So I think when an 11-year-old says that you sell a power play, that means that he's on the bandwagon. So I flipped over. I was looking for something like 5-2. I'm good. I'm going to watch. This game's cooked. And Swingers was on one of the HBOs, which I hadn't seen that in years. One of my favorite movies of all time. So watch the last 20 minutes of that. And I hear him yelling at the top of the stairs, Dad, are you seeing this? And I'm like, actually, no, I'm not. So then I flipped over for 5-4. Game on. Let's go. Now, they ended up not having enough in the tank for the third period. But that was about those last two. Are you entertained? They've done that the last couple, Bake. I know they're your boys.
I mean, really, for the whole season, Bo, this has been an entertaining team with the amount of offense they've had and goal scoring, and it seems to never be a dull moment with this Jackets team.
No, the goal. I mean, that was crazy. From 5, I think when I got, what was it? Was it 2? They tied it 2-2, and then it went 3 straight goals to 5-2. They had 7 goals in the second period.
Yeah, the Jackets were up 2-0. And then I believe they scored 5 goals in a span of 8:46 in the second period to take that 5-2 lead.
Yeah, he thought it was like, because he plays like that hockey game on the Xbox, and that's how that game goes. Every game's 7-6. He's like, this is like the video game. Yeah, it's great. Enjoy yourselves. For the longest time in college football, for the majority of the time that you guys have been paying attention to it, and quite honestly, for the majority of the time that I've been covering it, which goes back to 2001, if I were to give you the southern part of the United States versus the northern part of the United States to win the national championship, the smart bet over and over and over again would have been the South. The South would have given you Miami in the early part of this century. It would have given you Florida and Florida State. Inevitably, it gave you Saban. It gave you Auburn. It gave you LSU. The southern part of this United States dominated this sport for really 2 decades, 2+, really, mid-'90s all the way through the last couple of years. But it does feel like that is over. This is now 2 straight national champions from the Big Ten. It is 2 straight national championship games without Southeastern Conference representation, without Southern representation either. Ohio State, Notre Dame, and Michigan and Washington last 2 years. To not have a Southern team in the final is a baffling thing for that conference. Paul Feinbaum was on with us yesterday, and if you want to hear the entire interview, we go ahead and it's all on the podcast, and we encourage you to download, like, subscribe, all of those things. But I asked him about if there is panic in the SEC about 2 straight national champions coming from the North.
There's a lot of panic, and I said something the other morning, which you may have heard about, and I'm catching more flack from SEC fans for telling the truth than all the times I've stood up on top of the hill with one sword fighting the good fight. And it's you know me, I don't really care. No. But I find it laughable that some of my colleagues are still trying to equivocate. Hey, well, we're still going to win the draft. Who cares? It's all about the championship. And if Josh Allen loses Sunday, you can't say, well, he still had the best season over Patrick Mahomes. Nobody will care about that, and nobody cares about the SEC in relation to how many players they have or anything else. The bottom line is they've been out in the national championship game, and that hurts badly.
It certainly does. I also asked Paul, I followed up with him on why he thinks this has happened. Here was his answer to that.
I think in some ways it's cyclical, but even more than that, this year in particular, it was quarterback play. I can't say that last year because Carson Beck was elite, and this league also had Jaden Daniels. Mm-hmm. And I'm thinking back now, how in the world did Jaden Daniels lose some of the games that he did? And the reason was quite obvious. LSU had no defense. But ultimately, I think these things do cycle out. And the thing about Saban that nobody wants to admit, that his program, even though they made it to the semifinals last year, was still in decline from where it has been at its peak. And that's pretty obvious. And even Saban yesterday in an interview said that last year was one of the hardest years he's ever had. So I think there's just a lot of things, and I think this is also what happens, Bo, when you brag too much. When your league motto is it just means more, and the commissioner gets up there and talks about the Sesame Street explanations, it's just different down here. And when you don't go 2 years in a row, it boomerangs. I mean, in other leagues, you're not saying, hey, it's a big deal. The ACC's not there, or the Big 12, or someone else. But the SEC's overall record is fantastic, but it should be in the championship game. That's what we promote all year long.
So how did we get here? Well, it's several factors. And how sustainable is this? Is this the new norm to where the northern teams hog the national championship? I think that in the immediate future, that is going to be the case. If you look at, and we'll have Bill Bender on at 11:30 to kind of go over this at greater length. If you look at the way too early top 25s, it's Ohio State, Notre Dame, Penn State, Oregon. They're all in there. Michigan's in there. Illinois is getting love. It's all of these Big Ten teams, and there's a lot of factors that led to it. There's no question that the television revenue, the Big Ten has capitalized on that. The Big Ten has really good coaching. They have really good support staffs. The Big Ten has a lot of money. Notre Dame has a lot of money. For the longest time, the Southern schools were paying, many of them, I covered it, were paying under the table and had an advantage with what they did in recruiting. And Nick Saban can bristle at Shane Gillis all he wants. All he wants about how he was running whatever his program. But that was happening. I remember when I first got to Tallahassee and I saw the parking lot for the football players, and I thought, boy, there's a lot of guys in 2001 who can afford Lincoln Navigators. Like that was that was the sport down there. And there was some of that up here too. You weren't immune to it, but it was far more brazen down there. And then NIL happened, and all of a sudden it was all above board. You could do any of it. The reason Saban panicked at that Birmingham event that got Jimbo Fisher all fired up is because it was happening. He saw it. Wait a second. We used to be able to outwork. We used to be able to incentivize. This is now coming down to money. Well, the northern programs have a lot of money. At the top of the sport, they have a lot. Do they have Texas A&M money? No. I mean, Oregon might. But they've got a lot of it. So that's part of it, too. And then the other part of this, it is the Saban factor. And Doug was I always give him credit for this because he was one of the first ones that ever said it when he said, is it an SEC problem? He said, no, I think it's a Saban problem. And I think what Saban did down there, because he did it for a longer amount of time, was similar to what Urban did here, where he lifted everybody. Saban lifted that whole league. They all had to be to that level. Urban did that at Florida. He lifted the league. Urban and Saban were in that league together. Imagine that. Imagine trying to survive in that snake pit. They were both there. And now they're obviously both gone, and there's a vacuum. And there isn't quarterback play. There's not elite coaching the way that there was. That's now happening up here. And so I do think that this is just the beginning of what is to come in the sport. We'll continue with this. Also want to hear Ross Bjork on some of the narratives around this season. The Northern dominance in college football. This is just the beginning of it, kids, at least in the immediate future. We'll continue. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
We know everything about you. We know you love the Buckeyes. We know you love the Jackets. We know you're wearing a red shirt. Just freak the hell out of someone. The Fan.
Men, it's the new year, and for many of us, it's a time of deciding to make positive changes in our lives. This is Jeff for Tri-State Men's Health, and if you're suffering with erectile dysfunction and are tired of the frustration and embarrassment ED causes, you should call Tri-State Men's Health today. Because there probably isn't a better resolution you can make than to be done with ED. You see, ED doesn't just affect you, it can also affect your partner, even if they don't talk about it. But here's some great news. If you're like most guys, the treatments at Tri-State Men's Health will give you back your sex life. Because our protocols have success rates that work in well over 90% of cases. Seriously, you might even find you're performing like you haven't in years. So, make an appointment and get ED out of your life. Your initial visit is only $99 and includes blood work, a medical consult, and if medically advised, a test dose. And if that test dose doesn't work in the office, your visit is free. Call 800-900-9654. That's 800-900-9654 or go to tristatemenshealth.com. Tri-State Men's Health, a Promenic restorative health practice.
At Meijer, we work hard to bring more of the good life to your life so you can bring home more perfectly plump and flavorful produce picked for precise freshness, beautifully marbled beyond brag-worthy certified Angus beef, and more must-have money-saving M-Perks rewards. Because saving more on local favorites is good, but bringing home more of what you love in every trip, that's the good life. We do more to make life a good deal better at Meijer.
Looking to sell your home? Don't pay 6% commission. Call my guys at Sell for 1% Realtors. They're full service, not a do-it-yourself kind of thing. On average, customers save over $10,000. Give them a call, 614-451-6616. That's 451-6616.
Getting cold feet? Call Care Heating and Cooling and we'll fix your furnace fast. Call 1-800-COOLING.
Congratulations, Ohio State, national champions. Get to Dick's for a huge selection of officially licensed Ohio State gear, including hats, t-shirts, hoodies, and more for men, women, and kids. New championship merchandise is arriving daily. Shop in-store or online at Dicks.com with free shipping on championship product. We have everything you need to show off your team pride. Every season starts at Dick's.
Welcome to Nada Yada Island.
Next on Metro's Nada Yada Island podcast.
I almost fainted when the 4 new bombshells arrived. 4 free Samsung Galaxy A16 5G phones at Metro.
No way.
And finding out the 4th line is free. Oh, things got heated.
That's wild. Join Metro and get 4 free Samsung 5G phones. Only at Metro.
Plus tax. Bring 4 numbers and an ID and sign up for any Metro Flex plan. Not available currently at T-Mobile or been with Metro in the past 180 days.
Jake Diebler's Buckeyes are back at the shot for a Big Ten battle with Iowa.
Live fan coverage starts Monday at 7 with the tip at 8.
Every game, every season, proud to be your flagship home of the Buckeyes. The Fan.
Giant Eagle is making it easy to surround yourself with savings with new low prices on hundreds of your favorite produce items like pineapples, avocados, navel oranges, and lettuce at your neighborhood Giant Eagle.
I'm an old school Joe, and my philosophy is real simple and effective. It's not what you win or lose, it's what you save. And betting reduced juice at Prime Sports Ohio is the way to save money on every single bet. Download the Prime Sports Ohio app or visit our website, primesportsbook.com. Use promo code JUSTSPORTS. Get a welcome bonus up to $100 and be a member of the Prime Sports family.
Terms and conditions apply. Visit the website for details. Must be 21 or older and present in Ohio. If you or anyone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Come cheer on the Ohio State Buckeyes men's basketball team as they take on the Iowa Hawkeyes on January 27th at the Shot. Don't miss out on themed games, unforgettable fan experiences, and the ultimate Buckeye traditions. Buy your tickets now at ohiostatebuckeyes.com.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
Today we're going to be looking at a lot of cloud cover, some sunshine late today, high 22. Tonight's low gets down to around 11. Saturday, mostly cloudy, high 35. And then we have the Buckeye celebration on Sunday. It'll be cold, mostly cloudy with a high of 31. I'm meteorologist Dylan Robichaud with your 10 weather impact forecasts on 97.1 The Fan.
If you're starting your day any other way, you're doing it wrong. Morning Juice with Bobby and Beamer.
Weekdays starting at 6.
The Fan. If you love a good pie analogy,
think of the cap as a pie, and once you take out one piece, there's less left for the next guy.
Then this is the radio show for you. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
And as always, we are so proud to be sponsored and brought to you by our great friends at Diamond Cellar, your true jeweler for over 75 years. I'll tell you what, if this northern dominance is going to string to a third year and beyond, next year will be the weather the storm year. The reason I say that is if you think about the best programs up here, with one possible exception, they will all be breaking in new quarterbacks. Michigan's going to be breaking in a new quarterback. It could be DJ Underwood. Who knows? Ohio State's going to be breaking in a new quarterback. Feels like it's going to be Julian Sayin. Who knows? Oregon is going to be breaking in a new quarterback. Feels like it's going to be Dante Moore there. 1 year at UCLA, 1 year at Oregon as an apprentice. He'll be breaking in there. The only place, Notre Dame, too, feels like they're going to let Carr's grandson and Jelly kind of battle for that. I don't see them in any of the portal conversations. There were wild rumors about them with Quinn Ewers. It feels like that ship has sailed. So it looks like they're going to go in-house with them. And so then you say this, how comfortable are you, or any of us, with putting our eggs in the James Franklin Penn State basket? Because they're the ones who are loading up. Drew Aller's coming back. Those running backs are coming back. They got in the portal for a receiver out of USC. They're the ones that are kind of loading up. They may end up with Jim Knowles. Who knows? By the time that's done today, who knows? Are you willing to put the Northern reputation at the feet of James Franklin? Because we talk about quarterbacks, and On3 did this, and I think there's a little bit of, obviously there's a little bit of bias with this because of it's offseason and all of those things. And last year, if you would have done this, it would have been maybe looked similarly. But they just ranked their top 10 returning quarterbacks for next season. Number 1, Sam Leavitt, Arizona State. Number 2, Drew Aller, Penn State. Then it's DJ Legway, Arch Manning, Lenoris Sellers, Garrett Nussmeier, John Meter, Nico Amalieva, and then the other 2 that are in there are Carson Beck at Miami and Cade Klubnik at Clemson. So 8 of the 10 are from Southern schools. So in Drew Aller, we trust, boys.
Short answer, no. Long answer, hell no, to your question, just because it's the James Franklin effect. He's just not somebody I think anybody should actually trust to make a national run. And I just don't know what this Penn State offense is going to be without Tyler Warren. I think he was so instrumental to having those 2 running backs, the success they had and the success that Drew Aller had and that he showed without a deep threat. But you removed Tyler Warren from that conversation. Okay, if I had faith in the coach, sure. I don't, so I can't. I think with the cyclical nature of this sport, it's even more so with the quarterbacks. And with title teams, they've all been represented by portal backs, at least the last couple. I think it was J.J. McCarthy at Michigan, probably the last one that didn't flirt around with the transfer portal. And so I think hitting on those guys, like you listed off the names of schools that will be using new quarterbacks, and then the schools that are bringing back quarterbacks, are they serious operations? Like we think Clemson. But again, I think the Dabo Sweeney conversation can be had alongside with the James Franklin one. Could he blow a big game?
I think to me, it feels like next year is all in for Dabo, for Franklin, Like, who knows does Clemson ever get another 5-star quarterback if they don't take advantage of Klubnik next year? A 4-year starter, guys. Like, it's all in. And I think the same with Aller at Penn State. Like, the beef on Franklin forever was, can he get the difference maker at quarterback? Well, he got him. He got the 5-star kid from Medina, Ohio, who flirted with going pro until he played Notre Dame, and it was like, oh, yeah, no, not ready. Go back. Now, to Drew Aller's credit, and I think he deserves a little bit of credit for this, this will be 2 years, same coordinator, same quarterback coach. So there's some value in that, I think, for him. And they do have some weapons now. They have those 2 backs, got the transfer from USC at receiver. So there's some talent there to work with.
You say that about Clemson, and if they don't do it with Cade Klubnik, is this their last swing at 5-star quarterbacks? Is this the last swing for James Franklin with this? Because you mentioned Kotelnicki there for a second year with Drew Aller, these running backs. Like, it sure seems like everything is shaping up for Penn State here. Who knows what's going to happen with Michigan? Ohio State loses a lot, breaking in a new quarterback. It sure seems like Penn State better cash in next year.
It does. And I think for the other 4 really, you put Notre Dame in there too because they played for the national championship. For Ohio State, for Michigan, for Oregon, and for Notre Dame, it'll be which precocious young signal caller can get ready quickest and which one is most real. Because I'd be shocked if Underwood doesn't play at Michigan next year. I know a lot of people are, he's going to sit. Really? They said the same thing about DJ Legway at Florida. Like,
Aren't
really?
You paying him too much to just
also,
sit?
Yeah, like you have him. Like, are you really going to not play him?
Not only that, are you not paying him too much to sit, but what's your other option?
Yeah, there's that too. Quinn Ewers isn't ahead of him the way he was Arch Manning at Texas. So, no, I assume that he will go. And I think the management of this quarterback room here is going to be pretty interesting. Certainly all the feeling is that Julian Sayin is the guy, but Lincoln Kienholz is still here. He's got a year ahead of Sayin in terms of being on the roster and being developed. And Tavian St. Clair's been here in December. We saw him on the sidelines. So he's there too. And physically, he's awfully impressive. He's raw. I mean, it's a big jump to go from Bell Fountain to the Big Ten. So I think in an ideal term, chill out, watch, red shirt, spot play, handle it. But they'll have a competition. They're not handing the job to Julian Sayin.
Well, it was interesting watching some video of warm-ups from before the national championship game, and you'd see Will Howard get in there and take a couple throws. Then Devin Brown comes in and takes a couple throws, and then Julian Sayin and Lincoln Kienholz take a couple throws. And, man, those dudes both got whips. Like, it comes out different from their hands than a lot of guys.
Yeah, that was plainly obvious in camp that it did. And I know Ryan loves Kienholz a lot. I mean, I know that. And I'm sure I'm sure he's going to give him the full opportunity to compete for that job. I mean, Will Howard had a black stripe when he got here. So it's not like they're not anointing anybody. They're not going to do that. So that'll be a battle that we watch as we get into spring football, which quite honestly feels like it's going to be like in 2 days. Is kind of the feeling of it. I'm sure it feels like that for the folks at the Woody as well. One of the things that this team kind of had to deal with all year was this notion of how much the roster cost. And I've said many times, I don't think the number was accurate, and I think there were many programs who were far more in terms of what they spent on the roster. Ross Bjork, where was this from, Bake? Where did we find this audio?
So we're not sure. This is on the ESPN website. I think it might have been Amber and Ian on ESPN Radio, but I'm not totally positive with that. Okay,
here's Ross Bjork on that narrative.
It's unfortunate that the narrative around the number got really lost in translation, and I'll take responsibility for how that got out there. The report was actually a little bit higher, a lot higher than $20 million, and so it was really a way to correct the record. But look, it wasn't like we just said, okay, we have to have $20 million is what the market was really born for this team. So we didn't say, oh, we have to have $20 million. It was, these are the value of the players, and people decided to invest in that, whether that was a business, whether that was through our collectives, whatever the mechanism was. And so that's really unfortunate, because really, if you don't have culture and chemistry and all the other things, it doesn't matter how much money you have.
Well, no, that can be that last part is dead on, and I think that'll be the challenge for coaches going forward is how do we build culture and credibility and accountability while also understanding that this is the price of doing business. There was a graphic that somebody shared with me on Rivals of the what it costs for all the rosters. And they had Ohio State's second most expensive to Texas, but it was marginally different. And there were 5 or 6 programs within a couple $100,000 of what Ohio State spent. And I thought to myself when I was reading that, how do you know? How do you know what it cost? There's no contracts. You can't look on Sports Track and see what you were paying any of these guys. It's all just estimates. That's it. And I think going forward, that's probably the jumping off point of what it is going to cost. And it's going to get bigger and bigger and bigger until there's a lasso around the sport. And the good news for a place like this, and this is why I thought Ryan should have owned this even more, and Ross, all of them, I think they should have used it as a sense of pride. I think you flip this attitude and you say, and I said this to Ross when he joined us in August, I would just act like you're Real Madrid. You think Real Madrid apologizes that they got Rodrigo and Vinny and Bellingham, and then because they went and got Kylian Mbappe? No. We're the Kings Club. This is what we do. Best players in the world going to play here. But you got all of them. So we also had $1 billion in revenue last year. We're fine. That's how I would treat it if I'm them. I'd own it. Yes, we take care of our players. Our collectives take care of our players. I think it's a badge of honor, and I would have that be the narrative around it.
Of course, I would go one step further. If you've seen that Chappelle Show skit where they're standing on the corner and be like, watch out, there's poor people around. If I'm Ohio State, I go to like Purdue's campus and be like, oh, this poverty program. Nice to have money. And I just throw fun coupons all over the field.
Better yet, do it in Gainesville.
Yeah.
I remember
do it in Baton Rouge. Poor Brian Kelly.
Remember in Anchorman, Ron Burgundy, the one time, that's a point of pride.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes when you can bench 500 pounds, you just got to show people you can bench 500 pounds.
Own what you are.
Own it. Yeah. And I hope they do going forward. I don't know what could come of what's coming up next. Tim May is in Las Vegas. So he's in the glow of a national championship. We will visit with him in 2 minutes. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
Here, heart care helps you heal faster. Advanced, minimally invasive procedures mean less time recovering and more living life. See how we care for all of you at MountCarmelForYou.com.
Hey there, friends. Bo Bishop here, and the action is heating up this playoff season at ESPN Bet Sportsbook. Lock in your touchdown picks. Check out trending parlays. Increase your winnings with profit boosts. New customers can get up to $1,500 back in bonus bets if your first bet doesn't win. And unlock 30 days of ESPN Plus. Download the ESPN Bet Sportsbook app. Sign up with the promo code radio to get started today. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Terms and conditions apply. See app for details.
Bring the thrill of the stadium to your wallet with the Love My Crew checking account from Pathways, the only checking account that rewards you for being a Crew fan. Pathways Financial Credit Union, your true financial partner. Federally insured by NCUA.
Texting enrolls you into recurring automated text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
Hey, Dan, how you doing? Haven't seen you around the gym for a while.
Yeah, I've really fallen off. Since I turned 40, I just don't get the results I used to get.
Could be lower testosterone.
Lower T?
Yeah, I went through it a while back. Once you hit 40, your body has less free testosterone. I got Nugenix Total T, and it's made a huge difference for me.
I've seen that ad on TV. Is it for real?
Oh, yeah. The key ingredient is something called Tesnor, which helps boost free and total testosterone levels to help you trim up and stay lean.
And it's made a difference for you?
Man, I feel like I'm in my 20s again, at work, in the gym, and in the bedroom.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles for people to try it for themselves?
Yeah, you just need to send them a text.
Text PREP to 42424 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T, the #1 selling testosterone booster at GNC. Plus, text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenix Thermo, our most powerful fat incinerator ever, to help you get back into shape fast. Absolutely free. Text PREP to 42424. That's PREP to 42424.
The Fan Guest Hotline is sponsored by Cosby Heating and Cooling and Bryant, doing whatever it takes to keep you and your home comfortable. The Fan.
If you say something with enough confidence, it must be true. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
All right, let's head out on the Brian Heating and Cooling Systems fan guest hotline conversation with our great friend Tim May, the Tim May Show at Letterman Row. He joins us from the High Roller Lounge in the Bellagio, is what I'm told. How are you, sir?
Yeah, I had to swim to get here. I don't know what's going on here.
What's the weather
They
there?
put a big lake up. They kept shooting. Anyway, I could go a long way with that little skit. It's 34 degrees, and in about 2 hours I'm going to be hitting the links with my buddy Tom Blattler. It's supposed to be like 42, get up to 52. That's golf weather, man.
42 in Vegas?
Yeah, it's 30. Yeah, it's 30. You know what I found? I played here 3 weeks ago on the day after the Rose Bowl with my buddy, and the ball rolls a long way during the winter here, brother.
Oh, baby.
All you got to do is hit the funnel. We played this course. It looked like several of the fairways looked like an Olympic half pipe, that those guys go down and if you just kept it in the half pipe, it would go. I had a drive that was at least 340 yards with the roll. I mean, you feel like Jake Ballard when you're playing golf out here sometimes.
The desert roll is real. Even when it's not 42 degrees, the desert roll is real. You play out there and all of a sudden, boy, I'm hitting the heck out of it. Like, you're getting 40 yards a roll.
But you still got to hit it straight to get it.
You got to hit it straight.
Come on, give me some
I am.
props.
No, I'm thinking of my own self when I play out in the desert and I hit stingers and they end up going 275 and I'm like, okay, what a time to be alive. A little downhill roll.
Ready for the senior. You're not old enough to be on the senior tour yet, are you?
Give me time.
There you go.
Was there a moment Monday where you were nervy about the outcome in the fourth? Did Notre Dame ever get to a point where you were like, well, this is a little interesting now?
Momentum's a real thing, brother. And when they cut it to 8, I think it was. Anyway, it's all a jumble in my head now. But
sure.
Yeah, I mean, they had Ohio State was. I wouldn't say they were diddling around, but I mean, just it seemed like the air had gone a little bit out of the balloon, and and then you get a play that like every game in the playoff run, you got a play that you will always remember. And I, Chip Kelly brushed it off. I asked him right down on the field, was that a gutsy call? And he goes, no, it was a call for the situation in essence. I mean, they practice it, whatever, but Notre Dame rushes 6 and your offensive line and Travion Henderson pick it up. And then you just, as I like to say to Will Howard, you dropped a dime in there on the best receiver in the country who had gotten separation and made the catch almost right in front of me from where I was sitting. And you just go, man, I just saw that too. I just saw that, just like the Jack Sawyer return for touchdown or the kaboom play, as I call it, Travion Henderson, the screen and run, in the semifinal against Texas when Texas had, quote, gotten back into it by tying it, and then kaboom, So that's what you got. I mean, and that's what, a national championship game should come down to that. It shouldn't be 42 to 10, right?
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
Notre Dame was very good on defense and pretty good on offense, if you follow my drift. But the Riley Leonard, who couldn't hit the side of a barn in the first half, suddenly hit about 3 or 4 passes, and Ohio State missed a few tackles on the Greathouse kid. Much like what happened with Penn State and Notre Dame when Greathouse got wide open because the cornerback fell down, and you're going, hey, in college football, it ain't over till it's over, and they found ways to make points. That's what stood out to me most about that Notre Dame team through the playoffs is how they could just all of a sudden manufacture points. You go, wait a minute, they looked horrible throwing the football 5 minutes ago. What happened here? But, Riley Leonard, what a competitor. But I'll tell you who else is a competitor. Will Howard, man. Will Howard.
I want to ask you about him.
Will Howard, he just basically put it on his back and, in essence, said, we're winning this game, man.
Tim, he ended up being something I don't know that any of us thought was necessary. I think when he signed here, a lot of us thought, okay, be a point guard. You don't have to go win games, just don't lose them. And he ended up being great. His stretch play, the 4 playoff games, Tim, I put him in the same conversation with the Zeke Elliott run where he went over 203 straight games. I think it's in that vicinity, buddy.
Yes, it is. It very much is. It should go down in lore. In fact, that's the correct term. Of one of the great quarterback runs I'm talking about in consecutive games in Ohio State history. And the pressure was on the line in each one of those games, and he was on point. I've told you this. I even told you this on Friday or Monday when last time I talked to you. What I always look for when you go into a big game, whether it's a Super Bowl, a national championship game, or the like, is the quarterback accurate? Right out of the gate, is he? You can tell if he's on or not, whether the moment's too big. And for a while there, it looked too big for Riley Leonard. But what did Will complete? 13 of his first 14 or 15 of his first 16,
in a row,
whatever. Yeah, 13 in a row. I mean, you're on, man. And when your quarterback is on, good things can happen for you, especially in college football, especially on that level. But I'm telling you, I asked him after for some reason they decided to have a 9 a.m. press conference after these games get over at midnight, and nobody's you could tell Ryan Day had a little sleep. Will had a cap on, but I asked him. I said, one of the things was he wanted to come here and compete for a national championship and play with the talent that they assembled. The other thing was he wanted to improve himself for the NFL because he thought he was shortchanged in the assessments, the previous year. And that's why I asked him if he had done that, and he said, well, I'll think about that, later and stuff. But he knows that I know that he definitely improved his stock. I mean, in Ryan Day basically talked about him. He said when his feet are right, meaning he has the right footwork before throwing balls, he's as good as anybody. And he's exactly right. And boy, you watch the microcosm is that 56-yard pass to Jeremiah Smith. I mean, that was just cool, calm, collected on both ends, granted, but also great protection. And boom, they win a national championship. Are you kidding me?
Yeah. And one of the themes of the show today that I'm kind of hitting, because there is so much going on. You're enjoying yourself in Vegas. There is so much going on behind the scenes right now in terms of rating of this roster that is trying to take place. Possible Jim Knowles could be at Penn State by the end of the day. So there's all of this stuff that's happening behind the scenes with the football program, and they don't even have a chance to enjoy it. I mean, they're fighting like hell to keep a roster together. It's crazy the way this sport is. And one of the things that I've said today is it's really important when all of that is taking into consideration that the fans appreciate this team, because Tim, I don't think you're going to see one built like this again, where you have 6 or 7 foundational guys who were recruited here and stayed 4 and 5 years to reach this end game. To me, I think this is the last time you'll see something like this, or if you do see it again, it'll be very rare. Where do you come down on that?
I agree. That's what I've been telling everybody. So I've been telling people this is a moment in time. This is that tipping point, for want of another term, from the old way of doing things to the new way of doing things, right? Yeah. And you're a fool if you don't go out in the transfer portal time and try to improve your team, because there are players out there that can help a lot of teams. And you want to develop as many players as possible. But I truly believe we're in a new era when it comes to, like, for example, offensive line. And this might be why would you recruit a 16-year-old for your offensive line unless he looks like Orlando Pace, who still looks the part, by the way? He's talked to him after the game. Yeah. But why would you do that when you can go get somebody who has proven himself at maybe a lower level or the major level and has shown he's got the footwork, he's got the size? I mean, that's just an example of the change that is already on us. And yes, this is a moment to enjoy the fact that the lion's share, the great share of that $20 million everybody keeps talking about was used to keep people around. Now, a great deal of it was also used to bring people in, but the bottom line is the lion's share was used to keep people around. Why wouldn't you, man? You've assembled this roster. Why wouldn't you spend the money it takes to keep it for one more year? Because man, a lot did it pay off. It paid off late, but it certainly paid off. But yeah, and then with the possibility of Jim Knowles, I mean, you got to remember he's from Pennsylvania, Philadelphia man through and through, and we'll see where that goes. But it'd be a shame to see either one of these coordinators for sure walk out the door for any reason over the next couple of years, because this staff was pretty nice, especially in backed against the wall. This staff delivered big time.
It did, but I think it's also there's only so much money to go around.
Correct.
Right? And it's all being paid for. The majority it's being paid by boosters, and you have to decide, well, where are we going to spend our money? So until they get rules, this is what it is.
Rick Neuheisel said on his show the day after he had gone to breakfast, I think it was at Signia or somewhere, one of the big hotels there in Atlanta, and he saw Trace Armstrong sitting with, Ryan Day's agent sitting with Ross Bjork,
Yeah.
So, who knows where everything is going and coming. But, Bo, I mean, we really haven't seen, I don't think, the NIL arms race in its totality yet, especially when you consider everybody made a big deal about Ohio State's $20 million or so. But that Oregon and Texas, possibly a couple other teams spent more than Ohio State this past year. So, it maybe come clean. Maybe we need to come clean there. What are you spending and who are you spending it on? But I'm not sure we'll ever get totally to that point.
Hey, man, enjoy the desert. May the drives be.
The Eagles. Go and see the Eagles tonight, man. That's the reason I'm out here.
Oh, really?
At the Sphere. Yeah. Me and my
Holy
buddy,
smokes.
Tom
Who's
Flatler, my buddy
Hey,
Tom
who's still
Flatler.
are all obviously Glenn Fry's
Most of
gone.
them. You're right.
Who's
Most
left?
of them are all around. I mean, my Don Felder, my favorite of the guitar guys, they broke up a long time ago.
Yeah.
Part and parcel for Hotel California. But, Vince Gill's playing with them. I mean, Vince Gill, he's even better than it makes it even better than the previous hole. You know what I mean? And Glenn Fry's son is part of it too. Looks spitting image of Glenn Fry. But, if they're at the Sphere, it's pretty sweet.
Enjoy it. That's awesome.
I will, man.
All right, brother.
Always a pleasure. You know that.
All right, the great Tim May joining us from Las Vegas on the Bryan Heating and Cooling Systems Fan Guest Hotline. We hit Thing or Not a Thing up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
Hair Volume is the best-selling hair tablet in the world and one of many award-winning natural hair products from New Nordic.
The Ohio State Coaches Daily Show is brought to you locally on The Fan by Credit Union of Ohio.
Hi, I'm Archie Griffin, two-time Heisman Trophy winner. The right coverage can be a game changer, both on and off the field. That's why Encova Insurance and their local independent agents are prepared for what's next and protect what matters most to you. Whether that's your home, car, business, or family, Encova's got your back with a policy that fits you perfectly. With local independent agents in your neighborhood and innovative insurance products that can be tailored to fit your unique needs, Encova's playbook is an easy win for your peace of mind. You can trust their team of agents to develop a strategy that's just right for you. And it's not just X's and O's. Your expert agent will guide you and provide insurance solutions so you can confidently manage your risk and count on a financially secure future. For auto, home, and business insurance, you want Encova on your team. Visit Encova.com today to find an agent near you. Encova is a proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics. Go Bucks!
Hey, basketball fans, Credit Union of Ohio wants to help you score more by making life more affordable. It's time to play with a team that helps you win every day. Credit Union of Ohio's loan rates have dropped to provide affordable financing for the things you want and need. It's time to reevaluate your current loans and consider refinancing with a team that cares about you. Check out current specials and get started scoring more money at cuofohio.org. That's cuofohio.org. NCUA insured, equal housing lender.
Everybody knows that Roosters is a fun, casual joint. With their award-winning waitstaff, great food, fun, and laughter. It's a quick stop on the way home to sit back and unwind or grab a carryout. Roosters is where you, your family, and friends can order pizza, sandwiches, salads, and more. And the home of award-winning wings that are fresh, never frozen. It's your family's other dinner table. Roosters, a fun, casual joint.
At Meijer, we work hard to bring more of the good life to your life so you can bring home more perfectly plump and flavorful produce picked for precise freshness, beautifully marbled beyond brag-worthy certified Angus beef, and more must-have money-saving M-Perks rewards. Because saving more on local favorites is good, but bringing home more of what you love in every trip, that's the good life. We do more to make life a good deal better at Meijer.
Bobby Carpenter here for Germain Toyota. Swing by Germain Toyota and ask for Marcello and discover unbeatable deals and a wide selection of new and certified pre-owned Toyota vehicles. Visit them at germaintoyota.net. Germain Toyota on the corner of I-70 and Bryce Road.
You hungry? You know you are. We got chicken fingers, crunchy, fries are golden crispy, baby. Yo, don't forget about the cane sauce, baby. Ooh! Here's the spot. Hello!
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Diamond Seller, your true jeweler for over 75 years. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
With friends like these, who needs former college football players? This is Bishop and Friends.
All right, time for a little thing or not a thing on a Friday. Hit it, fellas.
Thing or not a thing.
Sponsored by Apex Plumbing Pros.
All right, let's start with some breaking news as the Las Vegas Raiders and Pete Carroll have agreed to a 3-year deal with an option for a 4th year for Pete to become the next head coach in Vegas. This from Field Yates. 1 week ago, Pete Carroll arriving back on USC's campus as Professor Carroll. I guess he was this semester scheduled to teach the game of life at Southern California. But now, head coach of the Vegas Raiders. Thing or not a thing?
Did you guys play the game of life? Do you remember that game? Like the board
game?
game?
The spin thing?
Yeah. And then you decide, like, you have to get a career. It was so the old one was really great because there were, like, real consequences to the job that you had, and you could, like, go broke, go bankrupt. Because it was actually, like, real life. We got the new one a couple of years ago, and basically everyone became a millionaire. I'm like, what are we teaching here? This is not it. Pete Carroll going to the Raiders is absolutely a thing. It's really remarkable what he did in Seattle in terms of he was there from 2010 through the 2023 season. Guys, he only had 3 losing records. He won a Super Bowl. He went 7-10 in 21. He went 7-9, 7-9 his first 2 years. He will be a culture tornado for them. They have very little talent on their roster. I have no idea what he's doing at quarterback or what they're doing at quarterback. They hired the Bucs guy to be the general manager, so those two are going to have to work together, even though there's probably not a whole lot of familiarity there. So that's part of it. That was the guy who Brady knew from the Michigan days. He's the guy who's there. He's going to be a culture tornado, but I don't know if the winning's going to be. It's the toughest job of the ones that are available. You got to deal with Herbert, Mahomes, and Knicks, and you don't have a quarterback. That's tough sledding, brother. But he'll get the culture stuff right.
And you got to deal with Reed, Harbaugh, and Sean Payton as well. And I think that's just as big. I think this is a thing because this feels like really how this shows how much Tom Brady had a say in this, because I feel like if this was left up to Mark Davis, we'd ended up with Deion Sanders and giving our franchise away to get Shador in there to be quarterback. And I don't know if that'd be good or bad, but I think they need a steady hand like Pete Carroll. It'll be interesting to see who they bring in on this staff. Hopefully they bring in a young guy that they can mentor to kind of take over, because Pete Carroll's 73, and I know he's in a lot better shape than most 73-year-olds, but I can't see this being a long-term fix.
The news that came out 20 minutes ago that Pete Carroll signing that agreement, I had asked at 971 BFS who's going to have more success, 72-year-old Bill Belichick at UNC or 73-year-old Pete Carroll in Las Vegas. So far, I've got a couple people saying Pete Carroll more so than Belichick.
Have you seen Belichick do anything like in the portal?
No.
Like what's Carolina done? Who's coming in?
They had a couple guys that came in. I don't know if it was anybody big time, but they did just, I believe, I don't know if it was through the portal or a high school commit. They got a pretty big time quarterback, I think, coming.
It's a really
I'll take Pete Carroll, by the way.
There's a handful of, they got a lineman from Alabama, a quarterback from Purdue. Good luck with that. They've done work, but I think it'll take at least a year for him to go over 500, or like what's the ceiling for him there?
Yeah.
The U.S. Patent and Trademark Office issued a refusal to the Utah Hockey Club for its application of Utah Yetis. The USPTO rejected the team's trademark because of the likelihood of confusion for consumers to other companies and brands that use that name. In a memo dated January 9th, the USPTO wrote the word Utah is a generic descriptor that renders the wording Yetis as the more dominant element of the mark. The Patent Office said that Utah Yeti also wouldn't be accepted because the, quote, singular or plural form of a registered mark is essentially identical in sound, appearance, meaning, and commercial impression, and thus the marks are confusingly similar. A number of third-party marks registered for use in connection with the same or similar goods and services as those of both applicant and registrant in this case. Among one of those registrants was Yeti Coolers, LLC. Sure. Memo was a non-final office action that the club has 3 months to respond to. Thing or not a thing?
It's a suck thing.
Such a cool
sucks. Name. Yeah, it's a really cool name, and the branding would have been great. It's Beamsy said this last night. He's like, Dad, why are they the Utah Hockey Club? As he was watching on the bottom line, I said, well, I think they're going to try to be the Yetis. And then this story popped. He goes, that's awesome. Like, Yetis is awesome. The one thing I don't know is, like, I wonder if there's a way to salvage it. So the one thing I noticed was, like, the plural. I wonder if they could make it like Utah's Yetis, like apostrophe S. Obviously, Salt Lake City Yetis, I think Yeti would be fine. Then you would get away from that. It's just the fact that both Utah and Yeti, the plural is the same, I think is the that feels like that's the problem. This is also, and this is part of what happened with the Washington football team. They wanted to be Washington Warriors. And because of and then Red Wolves was involved too. The Warriors thing, they run into stuff with Golden State, and then the Red Wolves, they ran into stuff with the Timberwolves. So, like, this part of it makes this a lot harder than it ought to be. I hope they can find a way to salvage it, because the other ones were like Outlaws, Venom. There were some others. I think it's the best of the lot for sure. Is Yetis was my favorite of the lot.
This is a thing if they can't get this worked out. But come on, I mean, doesn't Yeti Coolers have to jump on this marketing train here and get some kind of deal going with the hockey club where they exclusively sell like Yeti drinkware or something like that? Like, there's too much money to be made here to not make this happen.
They could be Utah Hockey Club and then just have the Yeti be the symbol of that. You know what I mean? I mean, you could just put the Yeti on the front and just be Utah Hockey Club with a Yeti on the sweater and have that be the symbol of it.
I mean, that's not too far off from what the Blue Jackets are, where it's in reference to a Union soldier and there's a bug as your mascot. So
you could do that's. I don't know. Maybe that's what you do. Yeti's great. I hope they find a way to keep it.
Speaking Thursday at the Baseball Hall of Fame, Mariners legend Ichiro Suzuki says he wants to have a drink with the voter who chose not to check off his name on the Hall of Fame ballot. Quote, there's one writer that I wasn't able to get a vote from. I would like to invite him over to my house and we'll have a drink together and we'll have a good chat. Suzuki, CeCe Sabathia, and Billy Wagner will be inducted on July 27th, along with Dave Parker and Dick Allen. Thing or not a thing?
Good for him. We ranted about this earlier in the week, so I don't want to repeat everything, but it's just stupid. These folks are so holier than thou and so off-putting. Like, who looks at Ichiro and is like, yeah, no, not good enough. Didn't do enough. Get out of here, man. What are we doing? So, yeah, I like that he called it out. And I do think if you're going to vote in this thing, you should make it public. It should be known how you voted. And then you should have to defend your vote.
This is a thing because baseball has been talked about twice on this show this week. A same week where we crowned a national champion in football, and it was the Ohio State Buckeyes. This is not a thing because you mentioned, Bo, these baseball writers, they're basically keyboard cowboys. You never know who they are. They're nameless and faceless.
Yeah. Yeah, they really are. I'm good for him. Good for him calling it out. All right, final hour of the program coming up next. What we learned this week, we learned a lot, quite honestly. We'll get you set for the AFC, NFC championship games. Bill Bender looking back and also looking forward to college football next season and this past one. It's all coming up in the final hour. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
Matty Ice is currently bathing himself in creamy jalapeno dip. And I've officially run out of ways to tease this show. Rothman and Ice.
Weekdays at noon.
The Fan.
When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting truly great candidates for your roles? It seems impossible to find them, but they have to be out there somewhere, right? Well, they're not hard to find when you know where to go, and that place is ZipRecruiter. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day. And because these people are actively looking for jobs just like yours, it's easy to find the right person right away. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. But if you're not using ZipRecruiter, you're missing out. So see what it's like when the impossible is easy. When you go to ZipRecruiter.com/free right now to try ZipRecruiter for free. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free. Never miss out on great candidates with ZipRecruiter.
It's a different world today than it was 30 years ago when I started Care Heating and Cooling. This is Mike Weens, now the retired founder of Care Heating and Cooling with my sons, Dennis and Ryan.
Dad, 30 years ago, you were the first to warn of companies using service technicians as salespeople, of abusing the trust that a service technician has. With the big conglomerates now buying companies all over Central Ohio, this has become the normal business model.
It's all about greed. The conglomerates know they can make a lot more money by incentivizing their technicians to sell furnaces instead of fixing them. They train their techs to take advantage of a customer when they are the most vulnerable.
Dad, that is not how we were taught. In 2024, Care Heating and Cooling was awarded a BBB Torch Award for ethics and was named the Lennox Partner of the Year. You don't earn those awards by leaving cat toys behind.
Call Care Heating and Cooling at 1-800-COOLING or schedule an appointment online at careheatingandcooling.com. When you need a company you can trust.
Broadcasting from the Lindsay Honda Studios.
Honda makes the cars. Lindsay makes the difference. Visit lindsayhonda.com.
WBNS-FM, HD1 Columbus. The Fan. Sports Center.
Good morning. I'm Eric Reeser. Pete Carroll's back in the NFL. Adam Schefter reported the Las Vegas Raiders have signed the 73-year-old Carroll to a 3-year deal to be their next head coach. The Jacksonville Jaguars have reportedly landed on former Buccaneers offensive coordinator Liam Cohen as their next head man. That leaves just 2 openings in the league, the Cowboys and the Saints. On the field, it's conference championship weekend. NFC and AFC title tilts go down on Sunday. Jaden Daniels looks to become the first rookie to lead his team to the Super Bowl as the Commanders are at the Eagles Sunday at 3. You can get NFC title tilt on the Fan as well as the AFC Championship. That'll be Sunday at 6. The Chiefs host the Bills. Winner goes to Super Bowl 59 Sunday, February 9th. That game will be in New Orleans. This update sponsored by BMI Federal Credit Union. Need a little extra help after the holidays? Get a holiday loan from BMI Federal Credit Union. Learn more at bmifcu.org/holiday loan. Breaking sports news when it happens on the Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
10 feet tall and bulletproof isn't just a saying, it's a way of life. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
All right, final hour here on a Friday. Get you set for the AFC NFC Championship games coming up in about 16 minutes from now. Bottom of the hour, 11:30. We'll have a little conversation with our good buddy, Bill Bender. Between now and then, what exactly did we learn this week?
We're not trying to do too much around here, but over the course of 5 days, you might have gleaned some stuff. Bishop and Friends present What We've Learned This Week.
Obviously, at the top of the list is we've learned that resilience, brotherhood, teamwork, togetherness, all of those things, if combined with elite talent and coaching and infrastructure, you can kind of get over anything and come through anything. And the end game is a national championship. And that's what this week has been all about. It started on Monday, felt very confident going into that game. It was so cool to experience it with the boys. Obviously, they have very little recollection of 2015. I mean, probably none, obviously, for the two youngest one. NBC, very little. He was 3.5, so I don't know that he remembers it either. I think sometimes kids think they remember things because they have YouTube and all of these things, which makes them think that they remember it, but the reality is they probably don't. But they all remembered this one, and they sat through it, and it was awesome to share it with them, to be in the room with them as they watched it, like so many of you probably did as well. It was a magical game. It kind of had all of it. It had incredible drama off the top, the way Notre Dame went right down the field and scored. The response from Ohio State was even quicker and more potent. And then it felt like it was going to run away. There was a time where I thought, boy, we'd be doing three things in the start of the third quarter. Got all the way to 31-7, and then the resiliency of Notre Dame. And what I learned about the two programs said a lot in the course of that game. Ohio State's dominance, resiliency, all of it. Notre Dame's fight was very, very real. The fact that they were able to turn that into a one-score game is quite honestly stupefying. That it came down to that. It was wild, it was nervy, and in the end, incredibly satisfying. The glow of it for, I think, a great many of us, whether you do this job or you're out there listening, you're a fan, whatever, the glow of it is going to last for a while. The other thing we learned, it's been a real topic of the show today, is that the folks who are in the Woody, the folks that are on ground zero right now, their fight is already on. There is no day off. There is no time to celebrate because they're trying to keep this roster together for next year, and that's kind of the ugly underbelly of the sport right now. But when you scale the mountaintop, it's a lot of fun, and the Buckeyes did on Monday.
Yeah, James Peoples, your number's up. Pete Thamel with this about 2 minutes ago. Ohio State star running back Quinshon Judkins is leaving school early. Will declare for the NFL draft. He ranks as the number 5 overall running back in the upcoming draft. That's per Mel Kiper Jr. That's his 1.0 rankings. And we learned he does a 4.0 rankings in April?
So he had two things.
When's the 4.0?
He's got mock draft 1.0, and then he's got the big board. So the mock draft 1.0 was this week. 4.0 will be in April. It's amazing.
Come on.
But then he's got the big board as well. Good for Quinshon. Good for him. I also saw this from Dane Brugler in the last 15 seconds or so. Due to the extended season and playoffs for both Ohio State and Notre Dame, several players will not be playing in the Senior Bowl next week. Among them, Will Howard, Xavier Watts, Donovan Jackson, Jack Sawyer, and Ty Hamilton will not be. I think that like everything that the Ohio State plan was with those two backs worked. It all worked. Like they were both fresh. It was almost one of those things where it's like your turn, my turn, your turn, my turn. Obviously, Trey was unbelievable in the game against Texas. And obviously, Q was instrumental in the win in the national championship game. I mean, that run he had was when you're like, you're like, okay, I think they're good now. That's absolutely on Q. I think both those guys will have very strong chances in the draft. I'm trying to pull up Kiper's big board so I can get a sense of where you said 5th?
Yeah. His position rankings have Quinshon 5th in terms of running backs. While you're looking at that, we've known this for a while, I feel like, but Lane Kiffin's a weird dude. And he loves nothing more.
Tell the people.
He loves nothing more than to be talked about, and it's not necessarily what what you say about him. He doesn't care what you say about him as long as he's being talked about. That's everything. Lendell White responded to a tweet about Quinshon and Travion, saying this year's Ohio State running back duo may go down as the best college running back duo of all time, and it listed the 1,000+ yard rushing seasons for both Q and Trey. Lendell White tweeting, "I had just as many touchdowns as both of them by myself. This is blasphemy." And then Lane jumped in less games, ! Now,
he coached Lendell White at USC.
Yep.
He was the coordinator on those teams. So there's a little bit of that. It does seem like he's I think his deal is, I think we all know his deal. His deal is any publicity, good or bad, is anytime people are talking about me, I win. And he's at Ole Miss. He's not at Alabama. I don't know if it would change if he was at Alabama or if he was at USC again or if he was at a place that was a big program that didn't need to be pounding its chest all of the time. But he's at Ole Miss, and so this is what he does. And I think the stuff with Quinshon's a little weird. I mean, Quinshon gave him 2 incredible seasons, and so maybe there's bitterness. I don't know. I always thought, though, when the spin that I got out of the South was that Ole Miss was kind of done with him, too. That was kind of the spin I got. It wasn't like they were devastated or they didn't think that he was going to leave. It was like it was expected. So it's petty and unbecoming, but I think that's kind of who he is.
What we learned from Mel Kiper's big board here is not a fan of Travion Henderson. He has Quinshon number 5 in his rankings, has Travion Henderson number 9.
Yeah, Genty number 1, Amarian Hampton, North Carolina 2, LaQuint Allen, Syracuse is 3, Dylan Sampson 4, Quinshon is 5, Caleb Johnson, Iowa. That's good class. RJ Harvey out of UCF, and then Cam Scadaboo at 8, Travion 9, Devin Neal out of Kansas is 10. I'm curious. All right, here's where he is on quarterbacks. Shadur number 1, Cam Ward number 2, Jackson Dart is 3, Milroe 4, Kyle McCord 5, Will Howard 6, Quinn Ewers 7, Dylan Gabriel 8, Curtis Rourke 9, Tyler Show out of Louisville is 10. Not lost on me that 5, 6, and 7 all were scarlet and gray.
Pretty interesting right there. I saw somebody
who would have ever had that, by the way?
Exactly.
On a quarterback big board, Quinn Ewers behind Kyle McCord and Will Allen both.
I saw someone this week, I wish I could remember who, said they thought Kyle McCord was the 4th best quarterback in this draft, possibly the 3rd, and they wouldn't be surprised if he snuck into the end of the first round.
Well, he was a 4-star, 5-star kid. I mean, he had intangibles. I don't think he can drive the ball down the field, and we didn't see. He got a bad rap a little bit.
For sure.
With it here. I mean, if you go look at what he did statistically, it was pretty dang good. That the Michigan result that year was really held against him. So I don't know. It's hard for me to imagine. I did not see NFL quarterback when I watched him play, but he was really good this year at Syracuse. Just for some perspective, in the receiver room, Emeka is 4th on Kiper's board. He has Travis Hunter as a wide receiver, which I think is interesting. I think most NFL teams view him as a corner. Tatoria McMillan, the kid out of Arizona, is the 2. Luther Borden, the 3. Let's see where the Buckeyes sit on the offensive line. Josh Simmons is his number 3 offensive tackle. Donovan Jackson is his number 3 guard. Seth McLaughlin is number 4 center. JT is his number 4 defensive end. Jack Sawyer, his number 6 defensive end. Tyleik Williams is his number 5 defensive tackle. Off-ball linebackers, Cody Simon is 6 on that list. Outside linebackers, none of them there, not yet. Who knows what's going to happen with Sonny. Corners, no corners in the top 10. Let's see where. Actually, he did have a note on. He has Travis Hunter number 1 if he is a corner. Safeties, Lathan Ransom 8. So that's where he has the Buckeyes. Those are his positional top 10s. You guys have had a week to think about this. Where do you sit on what happened Monday night?
Well, it's the greatest finish, I think, in college football. I think that what was done with this season, what was done with the story, and how it went from, just the 180 that was done not only by the team but by the fan base after November 30th. It hasn't been done before, and I don't know if will be done again. And I think that's in great credit to who's currently leading the program, and it's in great credit to who's leading the program. And that includes the senior class that banded together and returned in a time where you just don't do that and where you will not do that like that ever again.
It just makes me think of the season as a whole, and we may not like it personally, but this team prepared for this run at the end of the season way back before this season ever started. We've talked about it. Every time they had an answer in fall camp, it was always about a 16-game season.
Yeah.
And when they faced adversity, when they lost to Oregon, when they lost to Michigan, it was always, but our main goal is still in front of us. Their main goal was always that national championship. And it seems like they coached and they played to peak at that time. And who knows what would have happened with or without. But that stretch, Tennessee, Oregon, Texas, Notre Dame, they played really dominant football. Like we talked about with Texas, outside of self-inflicted wounds, that game's more than a 14-point game. And in the Notre Dame game, the final score is what it is, but it was 31-7, and they called the dogs off.
Yeah, they did. I talked about this off the top about what's happening behind the scenes. Excuse me. On 3 with some reporting about the receiver room at Ohio State and the offers that were made to Jeremiah Smith and Carnell Tate. We'll take these with a grain of salt, but we'll give you the details on them coming up next. Get you set for the AFC NFC Championship games as well. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
All the 10 TV people come over to our side of the building to take a deuce. That should tell you something about how we operate. The Fan.
How'd you like to wipe out all that credit card debt to start the new year off right? Hey, it's Bobby Carpenter. Stop getting fleeced by the credit card companies. If you own your home, go to AFLcash.com now. Advantage First Lending can help you unlock that equity and get you tens, even hundreds of thousands of dollars. It's AFLcash.com. You can pay off all your credit cards and other high-interest debt super fast. Consolidate all your bills into one low monthly payment. AFLcash.com can help you tap into your home's equity to give you some serious cash so you can go into 2025 with less stress and more confidence. Get the cash you need from Advantage First Lending now. Most homeowners don't even need an appraisal. How great is that? Get on solid financial footing. Go to AFLcash.com. That's AFLcash.com or call 844-394-CASH. 844-394-CASH.
Equal Housing Lender. NMLS 1209177. Subject to lender approval. NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
You want to know what the VIP stands for in the Ohio Lottery's new VIP Millions game? Very impressive payouts, because this $50 scratch-off has 51 million winners. Plus, with 5 bonus boxes and a chance to multiply your winnings by up to an astonishing 500 times, this game truly lives up to its VIP status. VIP Millions, your best chance ever to win $1 million in Ohio Lottery history. Lottery players are subject to Ohio laws and commission regulations. Play responsibly.
Hi, Bob Mashuter back with a huge message for 2025. Dick Mashuter Ford is offering the biggest deals in a decade to kick off the new year. How about new Broncos for up to $16,000 off? New F-150s up to $11,000 off, and up to $12,000 off of Super Duties. If you resolve to save money this new year, then don't wait and grab your new Ford to kick off an awesome 2025. Dick Mashuter Ford. Closed Sundays because it's the right thing to do, but 24/7 at MashuterFord.net.
Common Man here. I've told you about my friends at Sell for 1% Realtors. I am back to remind you that if you're thinking about selling your home, it should not cost you 6% to do it. Their premise is almost too good to be true. They sell your home for 1% commission, not 6. That's it. I had to check it out for myself, see if it was legit. I met with the family-run business here in Central Ohio. They will give you everything you expect from any realtor for a whole lot less. This is full service, not discount. They literally do everything that a realtor who charges you 6% is going to do, and probably more. They can do it because they use today's technology, which has made the realtor's job easier, taking photos, signing documents on your phone. And instead of keeping their prices the same like everybody else does, they pass the savings on to you because they know you're going to be happy with the service. Tell a friend, they get more business. Oh, what a novel concept. If I knew about these guys 10 years ago, I would have saved a boatload of money. On average, customers save about $10,000 in commissions. If you're selling, give my guys a call. 614-451-6616. Sellfor1%.com.
The Jackets are back at Nationwide for a battle with the Kings. Live fan coverage starts tonight at 6:30.
Sponsored by Atlas Butler Heating and Cooling.
Your home for Blue Jackets hockey. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Hey, folks, it's game day, and the betting's going to be intense, Drew. You said it, Dave. But a good pregame routine keeps betting responsible. That's right. You got to pause before you play. Good call. Sports betting is hot, but it can be risky. And pausing to set limits is an all-star move. That's right, Dave. If you bet on sports, pause before you play to set limits, recognize the risks, and know when to stop.
Learn more at pausebeforeyouplay.org.
If you recently lost health coverage due to a life change, healthcare.gov is here for you. Like it was there for Marcus when he lost his job, and Keisha when she turned 26 and lost her parents' insurance, and Elena when she went off Medicaid. There are many other ways to qualify. Visit healthcare.gov today to see if you're eligible to enroll. Limited time to enroll. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
Today, mostly cloudy, cold with a high of 22, 11 for the nighttime low tonight. And if your car is filthy dirty, tomorrow on your Saturday is probably the best day to take your car to the car wash because we are dry and we are above freezing with a high of 35. I'm meteorologist Dylan Robichaud with your 10 weather impact forecast on 97.1 The Fan.
If you don't like listening to Morning Juice, Bobby Carpenter's man nipples will punch you in the face. For real.
You want to fight, do you? Weekdays from 6 to 9.
The Fan. Keep your friends close and your producers closer. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
All right, this is from On3 Sports. Take these numbers with a grain of salt, but I think you can absolutely trust that it's happening because we've talked about that throughout much of the show today. Pete Nakos with this. Ohio State is working to retain its top talent after winning the national championship. I believe we had this off the top of the show. Jeremiah Smith has a $4.5 million plus offer. I don't know how they're verifying that. I don't know. How would you verify that?
A text from a reliable source, and I'm using all that in air quotes. There's no way. There's absolutely no way to do that.
Carnell Tate has a $1 million plus offer to enter the transfer portal as well. There's no way of verifying the money. The Jeremiah Smith number wouldn't surprise me.
It feels low.
Exactly.
Relative to what he's worth to a program.
Yeah. The first thing that came to my head was Texas. Right. The second thing that came to mind, and I don't think they have this kind of money at their disposal, was the University of Florida. I remember one of the boys was playing that NCAA football game, and they took the job. Oh, no, it was me. I was playing with SMU. And then they offered me the Florida job after I finished my SMU season. I'm like, I wonder what DJ Legway's like to play with. And I popped over there, and here's Jeremiah Smith wearing number 17 for the Gators. And I'm going, oh, okay. You had a busy portal season for the Gators. So that's just it. This is where the sport is. I don't have any idea if those numbers are right. I guarantee you that the spirit behind that report is accurate, that they are trying to be poached, that it's just the beginning of the players that are trying to be poached. And it's for some, it's for Carnell, it could be the money. It could be wanting to be the number one guy. Like, who knows? Who knows? The other thing I would tell you, even when we get to a point where we have ruling in the sport in terms of like an NFL model, the NIL thing's still going to be there. That genie's never getting put back in the bottle. That's done. That's cooked. So this is going to happen anyway. So even if you put them on salary, you're still going to have this type of stuff that happens on the booster level.
I mean, and Ross Bjork talked about that with you before the season, how these guys, they're going to use this money, whatever the $22 million, and spread it across all the sports, and they're still going to use NIL to help fund the football program and the basketball program. But the one thing I've always thought about with Jeremiah Smith is Miami, and I know you said there was some limitations on their funds at Miami, but Jeremiah Smith Miami has always scared me with they would come in and offer a huge amount of money to him that he couldn't refuse, basically.
They offered him more last year, and that's fact. They offered him more this year, and he decided to stay. So, yeah, that's happening. I mean, look at this. This is what I'm talking about. Jonathan Hatton, who's he's some running back recruit. Okay, Carlos Loughlin is recruiting him yesterday. He didn't even get 2 days to enjoy it.
2026 now.
God, jeez, craziness. Yeah. So take the money stuff kind of with a grain of salt. There's no way of verifying any of that. I don't know that Jaden Rashada was ever offered $10 million at Florida. I don't know. The only one that is the kid at Michigan, because Portnoy and them talked about the number. But that's it. All the rest of it, like Nico Almalieva was $8 million to go to Tennessee. Was it? I don't know. There was talk that Quinn Ewers was offered $8 million to play college football this year. How do you verify it? You really can't. That's what I'm telling you. Enjoy this and celebrate it. In fact, Buckeye Nation, it is time to celebrate. Join the Fan at 10 TV this weekend for the big Buckeye celebration. The lineup for you this weekend, Saturday at 3 o'clock, you get to relive the victory at the replay of the national championship game. That's right here at the Fan. Sunday morning, 11:45, join Paul, Jim, and Skip live from the shoe for the championship celebration. And then 10 TV championship coverage kicks off at noon. Listen on the Fan and watch on 10 TV. Go Bucks on that side of thing. We have conference championship games in the AFC and NFC. It is the first time since 1991 that the Washington football team has been in the NFC championship game. You may not recall this. The last time they were in it, they won it, and then they played the Bills in the Super Bowl. So you could get a repeat of that this year. And my hunch is that's what most people are rooting for. Jaden Daniels in Washington against Buffalo. Basically anybody other than what you would get out of seeing Kansas City in this thing. We'll go chronologically, do the NFC one first in terms of what to expect. Washington defensive coordinator Joe Witt Jr. made a little bit of headlines with the comment we're about ready to play for you in terms of how they are going to deal with Jalen Hurts.
We've had a number of these guys that we've had to prepare for. The one thing is if he's going to run the ball and if the coordinator makes a decision for him to run the ball, we're going to treat him like a running back, and we're going to hit him that way. That's their decision if they want to get him hit the way that he gets hit. If they don't, they'll keep him in the pocket. So that's what we're going to do.
I wouldn't have said that part out loud, because what's going to happen is Jalen's going to be trying to get out of bounds and then slow up like Mahomes style and get hit, and they're going to have a penalty. And it's going to be in the back of the heads of the referees. I would not have said that.
Yeah, now they're looking for you.
No.
It's a great point. I don't think Jalen Hurts, while he's squatting 650 pounds, cares.
No, he might not, but there's so many amount of hits you can take. And if I'm the defensive coordinator, I probably wouldn't have said that. So much of this one will be on Jaden Daniels. What a miraculous run that he's had. His head coach Dan Quinn on when he knew Jaden Daniels was real.
I knew early on the poise was really good, and then as it got into these moments where it became great, that's a big deal. I thought our team over the last maybe 6 weeks, we've gotten better on the field, but we've also gotten better in between our ears. Like, we're more resilient, we have more belief, we're mentally tougher than we've ever been. And so all of that factors in. Like, yes, our improvement, as I was talking about, is good, but it's not just the on-the-field improvement, Nikki, that I'm talking about. It's also a mindset that I will go the distance, I will finish it longer. And so Jaden being right in the middle of that has definitely had an impact on that, because knowing that you're never really out of the fight, that's a big deal. And so why did we have those close games? Maybe that stretch, I thought, build some resolve, not just on the field, but mindset, attitude, connection, belief, and he's definitely a big part of that.
You guys surprised this line hasn't moved a little? It's still 6. Eagles -6.
Wasn't Eagles -6 against the Rams too, and I don't think that moved at all.
Yeah, I just thought there would be a little bit of Washington momentum as the week went along, but there really isn't.
I think that people realize, and even last year, this Eagles team, there was obviously some things there, but this is still a very talented roster. Mm-hmm. And I think the Saquon Barkley aspect of this for the Eagles has a lot of people thinking the Eagles are going to get to the Super Bowl this year.
Well, he ran for 2,000 yards, and Washington's terrible against the run, so that plays into it. All three of us picked Washington to cover, right?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. And I think Bacon, I had the under, and Reese, you had the over on this one?
I had the over on it.
Is it still 47.5 on ESPN Bet? Okay. AFC Championship game will be the headliner. Bills and Chiefs, one more time. Nance and Romo on the call, one more time. There's no question that everybody outside of Kansas City is rooting for and I suppose young girls who love Taylor Swift is rooting for the Buffalo Bills. I mean, that there's no doubt of that. Sean McDermott, well aware that they have been knocking on the door and what this would mean for the city and the fan base and all of it. Here he is.
No, it's I've gotten a couple texts. I'm not really going through and checking all my messages right now, but that's what I genuinely feel. This is a place that has embraced me and my family since we moved here 8 years ago, and it feels like home. And I'm defensive because I love the people. And I think people who don't know Buffalo, it's because they haven't spent time here to appreciate and respect what really goes on here. I mean, that's just not Orchard Park. It's beyond Orchard Park. So that's truly how I feel about it.
The other side of it, it's Mahomes, it's Kelsey, it is history. This is 7 straight AFC championship games for them, which is second only to the record that Brady and the Patriots had when they made 8 straight AFC championship games. It's a remarkable run. They're trying to do something that's never been done before, which is win 3 straight Super Bowls. This is a major hurdle for them. They're dealing with a lot off the field as well, this perception that the officials are helping them. Patrick Mahomes weighed in on that. Here's what he had to say.
I don't feel that way. I mean, I just try to play football at the end of the day. The referees are doing their best to call the game as fair and as proper as they possibly can. And all you can do is go out there and play the game that you love as hard as you can and live with the results. And so for me, it's to go out there, play hard, try to do whatever I can to win the football game, and then live with the results based off my effort and the way that we played the game. And so I think that's what we preach here in Kansas City.
On this one, we all have Chiefs.
Yep.
And we all have over.
Yep.
I took the under.
Oh, you were? No, I was
yeah.
under too. I was under on this one too. I thought this would be under. Yeah, this one I was under. Reese was over. But we all have Kansas City winning. That's the way that shakes out.
I mean, we've seen it before. I just think this game is going to be a classic. I think it's going to be so good. I mean, whenever you can get these two quarterbacks playing each other and then Andy Reid in there as well, I might be in the minority. I'm rooting for the Chiefs. I'm rooting for greatness. I want to see the 3 Super Bowls in a row, but I just love watching Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen play football.
I think I'd be okay with it. Just like I'm already resigned to the fact that Kansas City's going to be in the Super Bowl. And I think that's just what this has done, this run that they've been on. So it's not necessarily, I get annoyed watching them win games, but I don't get annoyed watching them play because they're just so good.
This is a report here just coming in. I'm just finally seeing it. Mike Bernardino covers Notre Dame. Notre Dame has shown interest per his report in Jim Knowles as well. The report states that Knowles is due $4.5 million base pay through 2026 with a 30% buyout. Oklahoma Penn State could be willing to pay him $3 million a year. Go ahead, Reese.
Oh, I got from Football Scoop, who had similar reporting. They have a text from, they're calling it an industry source, so take it for what it's worth. And this was from yesterday, quote, at about 3 o'clock today, he meaning Jim Knowles, had Day, Franklin, Venables, and Freeman all mad at him. It's a hell of a Thursday.
Yeah, man. Wild times, these kids. Bill Bender in 2 minutes, Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
Giant Eagle is making it easy to surround yourself with the sound of freshness. With new low prices on hundreds of your favorite produce items, so you save on all the crunch, all the flavor, all the just pick goodness you love. Surround yourself with savings every time you shop with new low prices on apples, carrots, lettuce, celery, and more. Enjoy fresh savings on fresh produce at your neighborhood Giant Eagle.
Ready to hit the road in a new car? With Pathways, enjoy up to 90 days with no payments and low auto loan rates. Learn more at pathwayscu.com. Pathways Financial Credit Union, your true financial partner. Federally insured by NCUA.
Get your furnace fixed fast. Call Care Heating and Cooling, 1-800-COOLING.
Common Man and T-Bone here. Bone, did you know that the ESPN Bet Sportsbook at Hollywood Casino Columbus has over 30 TVs, 2 massive video walls? They even have recliners, a full-service bar and restaurant, a betting counter, and over 30 kiosks?
I did know that, but I also know that you can reserve a table right now at Hollywood Casino Columbus at the ESPN Bet Sportsbook and guarantee your spot and get some game day swag while you do it. Just visit hollywoodcolumbus.com/casino/sportsbook. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Now at Menards, save big money on everything for your next project. Transform everyday spaces into gathering places with custom craft countertops from Menards. Countertops are the center of the home, and we offer stylish options with durability that will last for years to come. Visit our kitchen showrooms in-store or go on Menards.com and get a free design estimate today. Plus, check out our weekly flyer for many other great deals happening this week.
Save big money at Menards.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Diamond Seller, your true jeweler for over 75 years. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Taking the art of sports radio and day drinking to a whole new level. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
I timed that out on the Brian Heating Cooling Systems fan guest hotline. Conversation with a great friend of the program, Bill Bender, joining us there. The Sporting News, one of the best in the business. You've had a week to kind of sit back and reflect on our first 12-team playoff, the national championship game on Monday night. As you sit back and think about it now, what are some things that come to mind, be it about the games, about the process, about how it all went down?
Well, it was colder than Atlanta than it needed to be. I would start there.
Right.
I was like, I go down to the south to be warm, not to get hit with that breeze right in your face. It was cold down there. The setting was amazing, especially the pregame, pretty special to see all the Notre Dame fans, all the Ohio State fans. And then the Buckeyes came out to play. And I'm wondering, so everybody's been asking me, Bo, what is the legacy of this team? I think they set the bar for 12-team playoff champions. It's hard for me to compare them to 2002. It's hard for me to compare them to 14. Honestly, they're different paths. But they showed the blueprint for winning this extremely long playoff that lasted 7 weeks and change.
All right, consider this, because this has been kind of a theme of the show today, and I want to get your thoughts on it. I think they're going to be one of one. I don't think you'll see another team in this era, as long as we have what we have in the sport right now. I don't think you'll see another team with 6 or 7 NFL players who decide to come back and play one more time for Big State U. Guys who came in here as 18-year-olds, developed here. To me, I think it's kind of the first and last. I think from going on from here forward, Bill, I think it's going to be a lot of new pieces in the portal year in and year out.
Yeah, and I think obviously Jack Sawyer, Pickerington kid's kind of the face of that with guys like him and Denzel Burke and Emeka coming back that all made plays in that game. And they made good ads. I mean, Ryan Day, he wasn't defensive about that, but he spend a lot of money. Mm-hmm. Programs are going to spend a lot of money in this environment, and you just happen to land Quinshawn, who had a big game. You had Caleb Downs, who might be the best player in all of college football. And, let's be honest, Will Howard was on a heater in the playoffs, and he played very well in that 4-game run. There's no question.
Is there now that you look back on it, what changes would you make for next year if you were czar of college football, which I think you'd be more than qualified for? And then conversely, what changes do you think they'll make?
Yeah, that's a good segue into my new duties with the FWAA, where I'm going to wield all that power this year. But no, a couple of the conversations we've had with the college football playoff, and we are going to have, I think for me, a couple things, and that's more about media access. But for me, it's 7 weeks feels a little long. It does. But the coaches, I think, like it because they allow players to heal, and then you forget that they're on winter breaks. I don't know if that changes. The most obvious flaw in this thing to me is that we have to seed the teams properly. And I think they'll get away with it for one more year because when we expand to 14 or 16, which will probably happen, then you can seed them 1 through 16 and just play it like they do in Division III. I have some caution with that because it's an extra game, but that's the direction we're headed.
Well, it's not an extra game if you just get rid of the conference championship games. And we've got the ACC commissioner this week saying, hey, we might take our number 1 team and just give them the weekend off and have 2 versus 3, which, Bill, I actually think that's pretty brilliant. He can basically use 2 versus 3 and kind of frame that as a play-in game to the playoff, considering his belief is that his 1 is going to get in.
And I was, as you always get out of the season, you look ahead to next year and you're like, week 1's loaded.
Yeah.
What are these teams doing? That's risky, for Ohio State to play Texas. It's risky for LSU to go to Death Valley and play Clemson. There's some really good week one matchups. So I think that's part of it as well. The Big Ten's in a really good spot. And that's not just because they've had back-to-back national champions and have 3 teams in the top 5 and all these way too early. I just think, I'll say this, Bo, it worked. 18 teams coast to coast, the scheduling in the Big Ten, getting Oregon to be really good right away in the conference helped. Business is booming for that conference. They're on a high right now.
They are, and I do think that that next year will be a little bit, and I will get into the way too early top 25s in a second, because I know you've done a lot of that this week. It's going to be, other than Drew Aller, Bill, it's going to be new quarterbacks. I mean, it's likely going to be Julian Sayin here. It's going to be new quarterback play at Notre Dame. It's going to be new quarterback play at Michigan, new quarterback play at Oregon. This is the spot the SEC was in this year with a lot of new quarterbacks. Well, Beck got hurt. He returned, but he got hurt. And I think the Big Ten is next year. They certainly are all loaded up. I understand why they're ranked high, but in 4 of those spots of the big-time programs in the North, they're going to be breaking in new quarterbacks.
Yeah, and that makes it very interesting. I think Michigan, they'll take anybody at quarterback after what they had this year for the entirety of the season. And whether it's Bryce Underwood or Mikey Keene will be interesting. A lot of excitement around Julian Sayin, and there should be the arm talent. I saw a tweet, I don't know if you retweeted it or not, but of his arm motion and how the ball comes off his hand. It's pretty impressive, and he's obviously got some talent. Notre Dame's interesting to me with C.J. Carr, if he becomes the guy, or do they go with Steve Angeli? So when you have these major programs, and Bo, this was something I was pointing out down there. This is the first time probably since early 90s where you could say that Ohio State, Michigan, Penn State, and Notre Dame are all right at the same time. I know Michigan lost 5 games this year, but they're coming off a national title year. So, and Penn State's got their all-in year coming. A lot of their guys are coming back now. So, exciting times up here, and I know the SEC's paying attention to that.
Yeah, they are. They are. They pay very close attention. But honestly, you look at that league and you say, well, and Texas is an SEC team. Obviously, they officially are, but they historically are not. Of the traditional SEC programs, which one is even loaded to make a run at it? I mean, I hear people talk about LSU, or like, you can't go that way. DJ Legway at Florida, like all of a sudden ascending to that. That doesn't seem to check out for me. So it's like in Texas we trust in the SEC is kind of what it seems like to me.
Well, as you mentioned, so I looked across 12 way too early top 25s. We do ours, and then I like looking at everybody else's just to kind of get a feel of what a consensus might look like. And you're right, outside of Texas, who does have a lot coming back in the Arch Manning factor, and then Georgia, I think Georgia will be very good next year. If Gunnar Stockton is who I think he'll be, they've picked up some guys. 3 through 9, hard to sort out because of like what you just said. DJ Lagway, who knows? LSU, tough schedule, a lot of portal guys. Alabama, I mean, are they really going to lose 4 games again? I mean, they've got really good receivers, but they're turning that over to Ty Simpson, and it's a little bit of a prove-it year for Kalen down there. So,
yeah.
By the way, they play Florida State, Wisconsin, and Georgia in September. So that'll be a very interesting first month for them. I think Ralph Russo coined it, Florida State, Alabama, the anxiety bowl of week 1.
I had a buddy of mine, a good friend, Jeff Cameron, who does radio down in Tallahassee. I mentioned this earlier on the show. I'll run it by you. He made some headlines down there this week because what he said was, hey, get used to these wild swings season to season because of the portal and the NIL. You could have a year where you go 11-1. The next year you're going to go 2-10. And that's something you're just going to have to get used to. And I think he's right. Not at a place like this, not in Columbus, not at Ohio State. I think you're going to maintain a standard even if you do have some defections. And they could lose both coordinators, honestly. There's a report right now that Chip Kelly could be a name to watch in Jacksonville on Leon Cohen's staff. So that could happen. Jim Knowles is being wooed by everybody, so they could have some major turnover here. But the standard is high here, and I think the winning will be here. But I think for the programs like Florida State, which has been to the mountaintop but does not have the year-to-year money, Bill, that's just what this is what they've signed up for, is kind of year-to-year building a team.
Yeah, and I think that will be a theme. You know, Ohio State's a little, say, bulletproof from that, but kind of. I mean, to me in this format, they feel like how when I fill out my March Madness bracket in a month, where it's like, I'll just put Duke or North Carolina. They're going to be a 1 or 2 seed. I'll just put them in the Final Four. That's kind of where they're at as a program. And I was telling somebody down there in Atlanta, one of my writer friends, that they're probably the one team that's a little bit different than everybody else right now because of the SEC. Georgia and Alabama and Texas, yeah, they're all going to be good, but there's a little more parity in that conference. Whereas in the Big Ten, to me, it's Ohio State have some ups and downs, but they are spending a ton of money too, by the way. That is something that needs to be mentioned. They're spending well over $20 million a year. Penn State and I still think Michigan, like I said, I mean, they'll be in that conversation as well. And a Big Ten team to watch for next year, believe it or not. And he's been tweeting about it a lot. You're going to laugh at me, but I think Illinois is going to be really good. And Ohio State has to go to Champaign next year.
My guy Fish, Illinois alumnus, he's thrilled that you mentioned that. I'm cool with Illinois, just from concrete ceiling. You're not getting all the way to the penthouse. We'll get you on a high floor somewhere, but just not penthouse. And Bielema's not ready for that. I miss him at Wisconsin so much. I wish he never would have left. And they probably wish he never would have left because he was the perfect fit there. And he could be this little thorn. I just think there's a limit to what you can do at Illinois.
I agree with that. And one of the things we learned this year is there is a separator from playoff team and championship team.
Yeah.
And I felt that way about Indiana, that way about SMU. Clemson's a little bit different because they've had pedigree, and I just think Dabo did a nice job. We've spent so much time ripping on him. I actually think they're going to have a nice team next year. And I did chuckle when you start to do the look at next year. The fact that Bill Belichick's getting a Monday night Labor Day game, and that game against TCU is going to draw ridiculous ratings because we're going to be so fascinated with seeing Bill Belichick on the sideline that we'll probably forget that there's an actual game going on the field.
I'll get you out of here on this. Who did you end up number one in your way too early top 25?
Texas and Ohio State 1 and 2, like most people. I think 4 of the publications have Ohio State, 6 have Texas that I looked at. Then you round out that top 5 with Georgia, Penn State, and Oregon. And I think you saw the drop-off after that, after Notre Dame at 6, honestly. Those are the 6 that I think will focus on the most in the offseason. Notre Dame's had some guys in there in the portal, but I think Marcus, one thing I wanted to mention, you could see early that their defense just couldn't handle Ohio State, especially with that game plan. He exceeded expectations this year. That was a fantastic year by the Irish.
I've said this throughout the week. I said it in the lead-up Monday. I think outside of Ohio State, no one won more in the playoff than Marcus Freeman.
Absolutely. And that brand, they'll be a regular, too, in the playoff in this format. There's no question.
I agree with you. Great chatting with you as always, my friend. Thanks for your time.
Hey, have a good weekend. Thanks so much.
All right, that's the great Bill Bender. Covers college football, head writer at The Sporting News. And he's going to run the Football Writers of America, so he's got that going for him, which is nice as well on the Bryan Heating Cooling Systems Fan Guest Hotline. 3 things on a Friday. Up next, Bishop and Friends, right here on The Fan.
The sound of Paul Keels calling a Buckeye game is erotic.
Oh, yes.
Your home of the Buckeyes, The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
If better health, more energy, and detoxing your body are some of your priorities this year, get Active Liver today. You can find Active Liver at your local CVS or online at Amazon or NewNordicUSA.com.
Need inspiration? Shop Kroger for thousands of appetizing ingredients that inspire countless mouth-watering meals with savings beyond low prices. Like digital coupons worth over $600 each week and up to $1 off per gallon at the pump. So you can get big flavors and big savings. Kroger, fresh for everyone. Fuel restrictions apply.
Save big on 2-liter bottles of Coca-Cola, Pepsi, or 7-Up. Select varieties are just $1.49 each with your card and digital coupon. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
Get Eco.
ECO. Aaron, look what I invented.
Jerry, you're wearing a cape.
Get Eco.
ECO. What is it that you promise our customers, Aaron?
We come through for you when you need us to.
Get Eco.
ECO. Do you know who does that, Aaron?
We do?
Superheroes do that, Aaron.
Superheroes! I'm guessing you make capes for everyone?
That's right. Every plumber, electrician, and HVAC technician. But I'm not done, Aaron. I'm not done.
Get Eco.
ECO. Now I'm inventing jetpacks so we can fly to the rescue like proper superheroes. Now say your line again.
We come through for you when you need us to?
No, say it like this. We come through for you when you need us to.
Get Eco.
ECO.
Jerry,
Yeah, Aaron?
How about we put those capes in the closet until you get the jetpacks perfected?
We'll look right when we take flight.
Get Eco.
Eco. Plumbers, electricians, and HVAC technicians. GetEco.com.
How'd you like to wipe out all that credit card debt to start the new year off right? Hey, it's Bobby Carpenter. Stop getting fleeced by the credit card companies. If you own your home, go to AFLcash.com now. Advantage First Lending can help you unlock that equity and get you tens, even hundreds of thousands of dollars. It's AFLcash.com. You can pay off all your credit cards and other high-interest debt super fast. Consolidate all your bills into one low monthly payment. AFLcash.com can help you tap into your home's equity to give you some serious cash so you can go into 2025 with less stress and more confidence. Get the cash you need from Advantage First Lending now. Most homeowners don't even need an appraisal. How great is that? Get on solid financial footing. Go to AFLcash.com. That's AFLcash.com or call 844-394-CASH. 844-394-CASH.
Equal Housing Lender. NMLS 1209177. Subject to lender approval. NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
Hi, Bob Mashuter back with a huge message for 2025. Dick Mashuter Ford is offering the biggest deals in a decade to kick off the new year. How about new Broncos for up to $16,000 off? New F-150s up to $11,000 off and up to $12,000 off the Super Duties. If you resolve to save money this new year, then don't wait and grab your new Ford to kick off an awesome 2025. Dick Mashuter Ford. Close Sundays because it's the right thing to do, but 24/7 at mashuterford.net.
Common Man and T-Bone.
Like, if that had happened to Michigan, I would laugh and point and poop and all that stuff that I would do. All the P's. Okay.
Common Man and T-Bone.
Sponsored by the Hinderer Motor Company.
Weekdays 3 to 6 on The Fan.
Hey, Ohio, Prime Sports has arrived. The only book where you can lay 108 instead of 110 on all your favorite teams. Football, baseball, basketball, hockey, you name it. Why would you risk more to win the same amount at another sports book? Download the Prime Sports Ohio app or visit our website, primesportsbook.com. Use promo code JUSTSPORTS. Get a welcome bonus up to $100 and be a member of the Prime Sports family.
Terms and conditions apply. Visit website for details. Must be 21 or older and present in Ohio. If you or anyone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Congratulations, Ohio State, national champions! Get to Dick's for a huge selection of officially licensed Ohio State gear, including hats, t-shirts, hoodies, and more for men, women, and kids. New championship merchandise is arriving daily. Shop in-store or online at Dicks.com with free shipping on championship product. We have everything you need to show off your team pride. Every season starts at Dick's.
The Fan Guest Hotline is sponsored by Cosby Heating and Cooling and Bryant, doing whatever it takes to keep you and your home comfortable. The Fan.
The perfect show for quarter zips and khaki shorts. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
All right, Reese, what do we have on the poll today?
The Daily Fan poll asks, will the Blue Jackets make the playoffs? 63% say yes, they will. 36% no, they will not. They're currently...
What is it, 56?
53 points. Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, they're at 53. What was the percentage on think they are making?
Oh, yes is 63.7%. No is 36.3.
Bake, where are you at on that?
Man, I want to be optimistic and say yes. There's a realist in me here that's trying to say no, but I'm going to go with the people. They 63% say yes. I say yes, too.
Magic if it could happen. Just real quick on this, a lot of reporting out there going on in the last hour on Jim Knowles and the opportunities that he could have out there. Penn State, Oklahoma, Notre Dame. That's being reported that they're all kind of in the mix. Report here in the last half hour that Chip Kelly could be in line to join the staff in Jacksonville with Liam Cohen. That story, by the way, we didn't have time to get to it today. That's crazy how that story shook out between Cohen and Tampa Bay and Jacksonville. They gave him a new contract on Wednesday, provided he would not talk to Jacksonville. And then he snuck and talked to Jacksonville after they got rid of Trent Baalke. So that's happening. Pete Carroll, the coach with the Raiders, that happened today as well. We also have the report from On3 on $4.5 million for Jeremiah Smith has been offered if he gets into the portal, and $1 million for Carnell Tate if he gets into the portal. Of course, those numbers are not verifiable. all the rest of this stuff is. So who knows what to make out of any of it other than just to say buckle up and keep it locked here at the Fan, and we will continue to monitor all of this stuff as the day goes along. Time for three things on a Friday.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3 things.
Sponsored by Custom Air. Custom Air. Custom Solutions. Custom Comfort.
This pleased me. Sandy with this on social. There was a line this morning at High Bank Distillery to get into the Westerville location. Never too early for bourbon. Congratulations to Adam, all of our great friends at High Bank. Today is when the bourbon drops. It has been a labor of love for him. The branding on it is awesome. It's a really cool bottle. Membership has its privileges, so I have tried a variation of this in advance of its official unveiling. It's delicious. You're going to love it. Congratulations to all the great friends at High Bank on dropping their bourbon. Adam's been working on it for a long time. It just took time. You got to wait for it. They did, and I think the wait will certainly be worth it, as is most things that they do.
I wonder if listeners will feel the same way about what Graders will drop on Monday. Available at their scoop shops, participating Skyline Chili restaurants, select Midwest Kroger locations, and online Skyline Spice Ice Cream with oyster crackers. From Graders, this limited edition ice cream features Skyline's signature spice mix and those crunchy oyster crackers.
What does that mean? What's their signature spice mix?
Spices they use in their chili. It's like Dr. Pepper's 23 flavors. What exactly are those flavors? Although I think they have them listed.
Hold on. Like, who would want this? Who would want to eat chili-flavored ice cream? I mean, I love Graders, I love Skyline independently. I just don't understand the crossover.
Yeah.
Some things in life just shouldn't be mixed, huh?
I saw Sour Patch Oreos a couple months ago, and I thought the same thing. Just because you can doesn't mean you should.
Or the Oreo-flavored Coca-Cola, or vice versa. They did that little mix. Yeah, you don't need to do that. My first thing, Bo, I'm going to piggyback off of yours. I've been waiting for this day for a while, actually since the gala, when you let me have a little taste of that new High Bank bourbon. I will be leaving the station today whenever I get out of here, and I will be heading straight up to Fifth Avenue. And you convinced me, Bo. I'm going to get 2 bottles instead of 1.
There you go. You'll like it. You like it. Number 2 for me. So last night, I talked to you about this yesterday. Last night, NBC made his return. He was down 5 weeks with the broken wrist. I could tell he was, and understandably so, he was a little apprehensive, a little nervy. Didn't trust his hands, I think, with his shot the way that he normally does. But played really well. I was really happy for him. It was interesting how it's the first time that I've had like one of my kids get hurt, like really hurt. And the nervousness that I had of his return to play was significant. He's got lacrosse training in a practice on Sunday. That one I'm ultra nervous. We got to find some sort of a wrist forearm protector for that. The last thing I need is to repeat this thing. So going to be a nervy weekend here for him. But I was proud of him for getting back out there and fighting last night.
You want to give him one of those defensive lineman clubs?
Yeah, that's it.
We do the segment emails on Thursdays, but I got one from Amy earlier in the show with the subject listening in SC. Listening to your radio station, you're talking about Penn State and Clemson. Down here in South Carolina, the big talk is how Dabo hired Penn State's defensive coordinator, Tom Allen. Clemson hates Penn State. And all the talk this season is how Penn State's overrated. But after the playoffs and seeing how far the Nittany Lions went, now they get their DC, and the talk is like, this guy walks on water. Can't stand Dabo. Thank you for listening, Amy.
Why does Clemson hate Penn State? What's Penn State ever taken from Clemson?
I feel like it's just a South hates North type thing, maybe.
Yeah, they don't really play.
Penn State's overrated, don't get the love.
Have they ever really crossed paths? I can't think of anything off the top of my head of the two of them ever. Maybe going back to like when Franklin was at Vanderbilt?
Franklin, well, how much crossover that time?
Let's say played in a non-conference or something that I'm unaware of. Huh, interesting.
Seems there'd be a lot more teams that you would want to hate than Penn State there. I'm not sure. With the football season, obviously a busy time for us. I haven't been able to go watch my buddy's son's freshman basketball games yet so far. So today at 4:30, I'm going to head over to the old high school, Grove City High School, and I'm going to watch my guy RJ play a little freshman basketball. Tough night for the Greyhounds, though. They play New Albany. New Albany's got a pretty good basketball program, but hopefully RJ gives them hell tonight.
There you go. Good luck, RJ, on that. Finally, for me, one of the big things we were discussing yesterday on the program was if Bootsy was attempting to Ferris Bueller us, and that it was a win that I sniffed out the Ferris Bueller and sent his hind parts to school. I also said at the end of the show yesterday, he remained in school. Guess what happened 20 minutes after the show got over? Bootsy was home. He was home.
It's a good job out of him.
Yeah.
That's a hell of a performance.
I had to respect the game. Yeah, he's home. Last night at NBC's game, he's running around the gym. No ill will, no ill effects. He Buellered. And he waited until I wasn't here to stop him or to be aware of it. The whole thing, I got to respect. It was quite comprehensive.
Dad said noon. I'll show him.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love a good message board rumor. This from Message Board Geniuses. Scoop Duck, which is on 3's Oregon Duck message board. A user by the name of Otson Zoo, who is reportedly a well-known member, has this with Elon Musk. Rumors that he's a Duck football fan and wants to donate per his father. He's 6 times richer than Uncle Phil and way younger. If Michigan's got Larry Ellison and Oregon's got Elon Musk, Ohio State could be doomed.
We could be, yeah. I did see Rick Reichert, God bless him, responding to the reports of $4.5 million and $1 million, say pocket change. They better up their offer. So we're ready. I guess we're ready. Go at him, Rick. Go get him.
Rick. Make sure you stay tuned to The Fan this afternoon. Wrap up your week with Rothman and Ice. They are going to have Fox Sports and Dublin's finest, Brady Quinn, to come on and wrap up the football season.
Yeah, going to his wounded Irish, so you have that to look forward to, which is nice. Enjoy your weekend, everybody. We're back Monday. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
We've been your Jackets flagship station since day one. All the goals, all the action, all the memories. Your home for the Columbus Blue Jackets, The Fan, Ohio sports destination. This is a Fan Action Update.
This Action Update is sponsored by Logan Services, a proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics. Super Bowl odds now have the Eagles as the favorite at plus 175. The Chiefs have the second best odds at plus 210, with the Buffalo Bills right behind them at plus 260. The Commanders are 9-1 to win the Super Bowl. In the preseason, they were 150-1. For your Logan Services Action Update, I'm Scotty Vegas.
After years of practice, QC Kinetics medical director and founder of Grant Sports Medicine, Dr. Ray Tesner, is still amazed at the body's ability to heal and provide relief for itself.
To a certain extent, we've always understood or been amazed by the wonders of the human body and the capabilities that we have as human beings to heal ourselves, and being able to use those tools that God gave us and condense them and use them as opposed to synthetic materials.
QC Kinetics all-natural regenerative treatments have helped deliver long-term relief to aching knees, hips, shoulders, and backs around the country, but especially right here in Dublin and Gahanna.
The materials that our body has are the most effective and the safest to use, so being able to concentrate those and deliver those in a concentrated form to the direct area of problem only makes sense, and it's a nice tool to have.
Call 380-208-4544. That's 380-208-4544. Or go to qckinetics.com/Columbus.
Championship weekend in the NFL is here, and you know we love throwing watch parties at the ESPN Bet Sportsbook at Hollywood Casino Columbus. Let's parlay incredible food, huge screens, prizes, and football together for the ultimate bet this weekend, and you know it'll be a winner. Join me, Scotty Vegas, and Dave Biddle from On the Money for a watch party at Hollywood Casino starting at 3 on Sunday. Must be 21 or older to enter. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Parlay it, baby.
Adam Schefter here with Vivid Seats. We've got some late-breaking news coming out of the stands. According to multiple sources, Vivid Seats fans are scoring rewards on every purchase and at a rapid pace. Obviously, these rewards are a game changer, and coupled with their MVP-worthy ticket selection, why get tickets anywhere else? Don't drop the ball this season. Shop with Vivid Seats and earn rewards on every ticket. And as the official ticketing partner of ESPN, Vivid Seats is offering you $20 off your first $200 ticket purchase with code Schefter. That's code Schefter.
She stole $6 million from the award-winning podcast.
I'm Lacey Mosley.
A new true crime series.
They call me Scam Goddess. I'm going on a journey across America
to dive into small town swindles?
How can you not trust this local farm girl?
And big city cons.
He was pimping the congregation.
People say that would never happen to me. Never say never.
Scam Goddess. New episodes Thursdays. Stream